ask for truth like it's a test. I taste so good though when I lie. You love me best when I comply. I'm your lust, I'm your sin. You wear me like a second skin. You were so cute, you were so brave, but I became what you would crave. Chain my throat, chain my hands, burn me with your sacred brand. Chain my legs, chain my heart, make my soul your work of art. Just ain't good enough. Hate me, hurt me. Change your hands, burn you with my devil's brand. Change your legs, change your heart, and make your soul my work of art. Hate me, drink me, hate me, hurt me. I showed you every part of me. I never hid what I could be. You thought your last could set you free, but now you just belong to me. You saw the lie, you saw the cost. You loved it when I called you boss. You chose the thrill, you chose the loss. Now you're nailed up to your cross. I never took, you only gave. All I was is what you crave. Say it's normal, say it's fine. Say you're lucky now, say you're mine. Drink me. Take your turn, hit me hard, watch you burn. Hit me, drink me, you did all. Hit me, hurt me, enjoy your Drink me, hate me, hurt me. Dream me, drink me. Say it's normal, say it's fine. Say you're lucky now, say you're
And good morning, best chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to some delicious, malicious morning nonsense chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We had a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic Monday. Hope the Monday demon wasn't too cruel to you. But we're back, chat. We're back at it again. More helping, fresh helping of brand spanking nonsense chat. Let's check it out. Let's check it out together. It should be pretty interesting. Turns out Netflix might have gotten religion, might have found religion. I highly doubt it, but I think it's less more like they didn't want to lose their eternal souls, and more like they didn't want to lose subscribers. I mean, can you really ask that much from a company that really pushed cuties? I mean, come on. But anyway, we're gonna see what this whole thing is. Like, what does it mean? What, Netflix found religion? Maybe like somebody new came along and started leading Netflix into the right direction. But we'll check it out, chat. We'll check it out. We'll check it out together here in just a little bit. See, Carlos Bautista says, good morning, LD and Bez Chat. Good morning to you, Carlos Bautista. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That's a bomb says, morning, folks. Since live action Moana crashed and burned, I'm kind of glad more people are talking about how shit Moana 2 is. Moana 2 is just a corporate sludge. I watched it. It's awful. The only other useful character in that movie, besides like Maui, is like this quirky engineer girl, who of course is a girl. You can't really have a guy build a ship, right? Can't be a guy building things. I have like, two characters that were very strange. They were flipped, right? They were flipped. Like you have to flip them for a day. You can't give them like traditional roles. All right. We have one which was a girl that builds things, because of course you have the engineer lady has to be a girl. The engineer has to be a girl. You can't have a male engineer anymore. And then we had a character that like made blankets, that sewed blankets, but they told stories. So he went along because they need like a lore teller to guide them along this particular the route. They do another very important job, but really it's like more of a woman's job, right? You see, more of a woman's job. She would make the blanket, she would sew, she would knit, and then also tell stories, right? Keeper of the lore. Okay, so so usually that's like a woman's job, and then the engineering building part would be a man's job. That's just how it goes. But this is modern day Disney, so they had to flip them. So now it's the woman building the ship, the guy making sewing the blankets. It's but they both win, but it was just kind of funny. But it is soulless corporate sludge. Moana does nothing. She does nothing. Literally, everything she needs to accomplish is just handed to her throughout the movie, just by like some gods or happenstance. There's technically a low point in the movie where their ship is destroyed, and Moana has, like, for the first time ever, maybe will have to take a role as leader and like convince everyone to not give up and to rebuild the ship. But fortunately for her, everyone already did that. So that she didn't have to like give a rousing speech or convince people to rebuild the ship or get them motivated again. They just kind of did that for her. They're already fine. The ship's already rebuilt by the time she starts bringing up the topic. It's just, and not only that, Moana 2 has instances of like this is clearly made for streaming, because it's like this instances where like we see what's happening and the character has to like explain to us what we're seeing. It's like, oh, she's using centrifugal force to make the boat go faster. Yeah, I can see that. Like, it's clearly that's what's happening. But it's like, oh yeah, this is made in the era of streaming, where people aren't actually watching the movie; they are doing something else as they listen to the movie. So, I mean, who cares about the visuals, right? So that's kind of where it is. That's kind of what that movie is. It's awful. The first one was also bad, but it wasn't this bad, because in the first movie, Moana did nothing. She was just some super special, awesome girl who everyone loved, and was basically a Mary Sue. She was a Mary Sue in both movies, but she was a Mary Sue in this one a lot more, because it didn't even make sense Mary Sue wise. Like, at least, your traditional Mary Sue will at least try to put up a front of doing things. Like, at least Rey would, try to beat up Kylo Ren, right? It wasn't like she showed up and Kylo Ren kind of killed himself. Which is kind of the setup of Moana. Like, Moana 2 just kind of shows up and things are just done for her. And you need to find this lost civilization or this lost island. Well, well, don't worry, you don't have to actually do any work, Moana. You'll just be here's a star that'll lead you right in the direction you need to go. It really does feel like it was people said, oh, it's a TV show. It's supposed to be a TV show. It does feel like that, because Moana spent like we get introduced to Moana in Moana 2 as like this super cool adventure girl who's just running around different islands looking for people and civilizations besides her own, and she's a super adventurous. She does the whole jump over the cavern thing that all Disney heroines do these days, because if you jump over a cliff, jump over a cavern, that's adventurous. That's the sign of adventure. Ray did that. Moana does that. So that's how that goes. Okay, and she's just brave, and she's like venturing forth into the unknown. And then later on, we get this villain who's like a vampire lady who's not really attacking her. She kind of captured Maui and seemed villainous until Moana showed up and it's like, oh wait, I'm actually on your side. I want you to help me. I want you to help to free me from this prison I'm from. So here's some more help. I'm gonna send you right direction. Also, here's Maui. I didn't actually capture him. I kind of kept him here for you until you got here because I guess you knew Moana was on her way. But then she gives Moana this song about how she shouldn't be too rigid in her travels. She should be more adventurous and she should be she should allow herself to get lost every once in a while. I was like, what? Like at no point in during this adventure was she like this cautious or overly cautious or anything of that. Like I would like, if she was singing to like the main character of the Page Master, okay, that makes sense, right? But this is Moana. She is a generic female character in a Disney movie, in a modern day Disney movie. Of course, she's going to be all the cool things, effortlessly awesome, and adventurous, and very very male centric, and creation. Right, so it's awful. It is really terrible. They have like even if they're trying to like force a lesson down your throat, it's like the wrong lesson somehow, and that's weird. It feels like everyone making this movie were all held in different rooms and not given any context. They get one part of the series. They get one part of the movie, and they had to work on it, and they were in contact with nobody else. It's a up, down, down. Hello. It says hi, hail chat, and Space King and the true villain, literature devil. Hello to you, up, down, down. Welcome. As Daniel says, the ball says Netflix on religion. You sure it's just isn't the secular one they have been worshiping the last decade and a half? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Kara, the token nerd, says, hi all. I seem to have suddenly got very busy. So much to do, so little time. Don't I know it? But well, good luck to you, Kara, token nerd, and welcome while you're here. John Devgon says, good morning, Lishiv and Best Chat. Hello to you. Remember to stay hydrated and stand against the evil. So Gotham is apparently cursed and to always have evil in it. So when did that happen? Is that like a new thing? Is that for Batman, Absolute Batman? Or something? Limp Biscuit says, good morning, LD and Chad. As for Netflix finding religion, I'll take that things that didn't happen 500, Alex. Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it goes. Siege Gardens says, hello, LD and Best Chad. Good morning. Hello to you. Sharon Tronick says, good morning, all. California has called Skydance's bluff and sued to stop the Warner merger. Will Paramount move out? And will this lead to more leftists in a more conservative state? Or more political balance? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Will Paramount move out? Because I heard that because Paramount wants to move out, or where some company wants to move out of California and take their $30 billion with them, because California is an oppressive state for anyone with money. They got to give it all to the poor, who will then just spend it. So good book column. Hello to book column. Good morning. It's a kind of catches from Rumble says good morning, Liv and Rumble chat. Rolling the dice and with the tomboys on the green tube. Come join us. Hello to you, Connor Ketchell. Good morning. Hello. She says, good morning, LD. I call BS on Netflix. Maybe they found their own. And we'll see. Dr. Ryan the Fourth says, good morning, LD and Bed Chat. Finished another night shift at the hospital. Also, I still want to recommend the 10 Penny Tower Morality is too complex to woke tourist video. That could be on the docket. We'll see how it goes. And see, unleash the facts, LD. Hello to Carillion Butterfly. Good morning. And see, Dr. Ryan the Fourth says, oh yeah, Moana remake is so bad that both leftist and right winger ended up putting aside their differences just to hate on the same thing. It only happened 3 times, and 2 of them involved Disney. Yeah, it's just because Disney keeps making the worst decisions anyone could ever make. It's like they can identify the right decision and go the absolute opposite way. Like, what the hell? What the hell, Disney? It says, sup LD in Best Chat. Mon 2 is the modern equivalent of the old Disney direct-to-DVD videos, sequels. Only difference is they think they can put them in theaters for some reason. Yeah. Also, a lot of the sequels, the directed DVD or directed videotape sequels Disney made were okay. They actually made sense, right? In like Lion King 2, I like Lion King 2 a little bit. Simba's Pride. The villain was kind of cool. Like Zero was kind of cool. Some of the characters are pretty interesting. I like the Romeo and Juliet thing that they kind of went with. They still had to work for everything. They said that like Kovu did not just get handed everything in life. um, Kiara was like a kind of a spoiled brat, but I mean, she kind of I think she learned over the course of the series or the course of the movie, and it was pretty interesting. There's some pretty cool decisions there. Quasimodo, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, was pretty interesting. They had like the bell full of gems and stuff like that. I mean, it was dumb, but Quasimodo got a girlfriend in that one. So I don't know. Some of them are pretty interesting. They at least made sense. They at least made sense. We wanted to like the modern day Disney stuff. They don't make any sense at all. There's like a bunch of stuff that happens. They put in a pot and can kind of sewed it together, and hoping that everyone would just kind of watch it and not notice. They're like modern day Disney really depends. They're really leaning on the idea of just big, loud, colorful song numbers and fast animation, fast talking. And if they just keep things going, if they kind of just keep the energy high and keep things going and flash a bunch of colors to you, then you won't notice that it's terrible. It'll just be so lulled into a sense of neutrality that you just kind of just lay there to absorb all the stuff that's happening so fast you can barely process it. And then at the end you're like, oh well, okay, that's a good movie, I guess, because you didn't feel bad. So it must have been a good movie. Is he Lady Fastlot? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Hello to you, Lady Fastlot. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Raspin7 says, good morning, all. Hello to you, Raspin7. Good morning to you. As the mom says, Maui literally sings a song about how awesome she is. Yeah, actually, yeah. Shaving Tronic says today's Disney is doing everything they can to be anti-white, anti-Walt, both. An animator who knew entertaining the common family would lead to success. Yeah. There's like they identify the right thing to do, but they always hate it. Like superhero movies are for men. Like superheroes are for men. It's a manly genre. It's an inherently masculine genre. It really is. They have to like impress this lie on you that it's not. That it's just for everyone. That everyone will like superhero. No, it's a masculine fantasy. It's for men. All right. Some women might like it, but it's predominantly for men. Like some men might like Twilight, like Shad. But it's predominantly going to be for women. And it'd be very strange if they try to make it for men. So it is how that works. Okay. But because superheroes became such a great, huge phenomenon for like what 15, 20 years, they had to force feed us this lie that superheroes are for everybody. Never like superheroes, instead of the truth, which is the superheroes are for men. Superhero genre is for men. It's a masculine, inherently masculine genre because because the idea behind superheroes is that you defy the system. You defy a corrupt system. You stand up against the evil, and that's a very masculine thing to do, a very masculine drive to do, because masculinity is born in defiance. That's how it goes. It's like a bunch of things that happened today. Like there's all these lies that are just inconvenient that we had to accept to cover inconvenient truths, right? Something like that. And one of those truths is that if you're going to make a superhero show, superhero movie, or a superhero, what is it? It's comic book or story, right? It's going to be for men. You should be prioritizing this story to appeal to men. And that philosophy has worked well for comic books for decades. And when they stopped that, man, everything tanked, didn't it? Could you imagine like a bunch of men got together and started taking control of a big romance genre, or no, big romance series or something like that, and said, okay, we're going to continue forth with this, and we're going to put more action in it, and we're going to take away all the romance and go then go, whoa, what the hell? Why are we losing so many sales? What's going on here? Why are we losing so many sales? Doesn't make any sense. Why are you losing so many sales? Our solution is not to go back to the way we were doing things. No. Our solution is to call everyone bigots and double down on what we're doing, and to continue that trick for like, I don't know, 10 years. And then we'll complain that no one is buying it, that the reason why we're losing all of our money, that I have to live in a apartment with 7 roommates. Okay. And I had to take 4 other jobs just to make ends meet while working on comics, is because of the bigots. All right. And superhero fatigue, or I guess in this case, in this scenario, romance fatigue, instead of doing things correctly. So It happens every time. Like they go into a genre that's clearly for men, and then they resent the fact that it's for men. So, so this kind of just the answer is staring in the face. Write this for men. Write this appeal to men. All right, draw pretty ladies and cool action, and make it about right and wrong and fighting evil. All right, and it's like no, we're not going to do any of that because we don't want to appeal to men. All right, well, have fun with your poverty. That's kind of where it is, where they're kind of begging on social media for money just to buy groceries. Where like some of these guys, like, oh, $20 is life changing money. Like this guy is like, I'm dead. I lost $20. I invested $20. I lost it. I'm dead. I'm gone. That's I think that happened to Joe Glass. I think it was Joe Glass. And $20 is like all you had to do, and is write comics that appeal to men. That's all you had to do, but they just couldn't do that. They rather destroy themselves than do that. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, Boiling says, good morning, LD and Brez Chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Dr. Chris says, place funny comments here. Hello to Dr. Chrisman. Hello, hello, hello. And say, the thing with balls is the only character that can provide exposition is in real time is Speedwagon and a handful of characters from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Exactly. As a bum says, that gets lost song makes no damn it makes no sense. It makes no sense. The get lost. What? Because that song that happens in Moana 2 from the villain telling her to get lost and every once in a while take a chance or something like that. That needs to be sung to a main character who has struggled the entire film with being adventurous and being too cautious the entire film, right? It's kind of what happens. But that's not Moana. Moana was never like overly cautious type, even in movie 1 or movie 2. She was never the overly cautious type. And the whole thing with like get lost, like she's being guided by a star towards where she needs to go. Why does she need to get lost? Like getting lost here in this scenario for any reason is like dumb, because then where you're going. So getting lost will just hinder you. It will not help you one bit. Getting lost, on the other hand, if you weren't being guided by a star or something like that, it's kind of like, okay, why you hear too much of the map and couldn't find anything. How about try getting lost? Try going off the beaten path, because the civilization is lost, right? So try looking somewhere else. Try getting lost, and then boom, it would make sense. It would make sense in kind of a funny way. It's like the civilization is lost, so try getting lost, and maybe you'll find it. That would make sense in some strange way. But she literally has a star guiding her to where she needs to go. There's no reason to get lost. Like I said, the only reason why you would sing a song like that to the main character, if they're like the main character from Pagemaster, who just like wears helmets and armor everywhere he goes because he's too afraid of bad things happening. It's a introspective M says, good morning, LD and Bezjack. Good morning to you, introspective M. Good morning, good morning. So Fucking says, good morning, LD and Bezjack. Been very busy as of late, sadly. Please, please, Disney, stop making live action remakes. Yeah, they're all bad. They're all bad. Why is it they keep making these things? They're awful. And Pagemaster it's one of my favorites. I really like Pagemaster, obviously. That's a good movie. I like that one a lot. Also really funny to hear Patrick Stewart be like this adventurous book. Newton Bamhammer says, oils all my boyos. Hello to you, Mutant Bamhammer. Good morning, good morning. His guard says, no, LD. They don't give your money to the poor, they give the money to the crackheads. Yeah, it's right to the crackhead's pocket. Let's see. The thing is, balls, heck, even Return of Jafar and Cinderella 3 pretty good. I don't think I've seen Cinderella 3, but I would imagine it's better. Return of Jafar I have seen. It is way better. Way better. I mean, Return of Jafar gives you a Bismol. That's a pretty funny character. Let's see your chat. Rasmus7 says, modern creators hate doing the right thing because it goes contrary to delusional nonsense. Yeah, is this really funny, though? Is this really funny? And they're so dedicated to not doing the right thing. They're not doing things correctly because they find it offensive. Like, why do we have to cater to men? Because you have to, right? You have to. Even if you're doing a genre that is a manly genre, you're going to have to cater to men. If you don't want to cater to men, get out of the genre. Like, get out of superheroes and stuff. Let's see here. Druzzel15, morning chat LD. I have a funny question. If you had to write a comic book or a TV show, if it's easier for you, what would it be about? Well, if I had to write a comic book, I think it would be about.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, just days after his 55th birthday. Then the Rhineswan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had.
Sit alone on the edge of
5 members of the prominent Rhineswan family were found dead.
After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name. The Red Crier Killer.
Memento mori. Remember you will die.
Investigators believe the killer may be the same individual the media has dubbed the Red Crier.
Memento mori. Remember you will die. I know it's droll to sell my soul. I wanted to protect them though, but I couldn't even play my role. Now vengeance is my only goal. Memento mori. Too late for sorry. Now goodbye. Breath goes dry. I will cry when I remember you will die.
Yes, they're okay. Something like that. Something like that. Thank you very much. Carly Catches is my fault. How could anything be my fault? I have only ever done everything you hate. Exactly. Like I've done everything the opposite of what you wanted. Why aren't you giving me money? Yeah, it's very strange. Like this is it's like being your birthday party, but your parents are prioritizing your siblings' happiness. Like they got a present for your siblings, so they won't be sad or left out. But then also forgot to get you a present. It's like it's like that situation or something like that. Because essentially that's what's going on. This is your genre, men, all right, and the companies, like, they're more concerned with girls than they are with you in your genre. Like, what the hell? It's a great nice. Good morning, let's driven best chat. I don't believe that Netflix found a religion. They found out that religious movies are making money. Yeah, because people are moving towards religion. Here are so, like, most people are seeing what they're doing at Hollywood in the mainstream. They're so openly dedicated to being freaking evil that everyone's like, you know what? I'm going to go over here with the good guys. I don't really want to be over here with all the predators, pedos, and cannibals. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you, Hollywood. No, thank you at all. It's a Sean Jones. I think LD would also write about a supervillain in a world where new heroes are jerks. Not sure what makes me think that. Yeah, I don't know. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Info Battalion. We are live with the scariest news. Washington liberals and their pet Gestapo in tights, aka those flying Nazis we call superheroes, floating around over our heads, watching everything we do like some kind of kinky, degenerate big brother, never wanted you to know. And you're about to hear it first and hear it live on Info Battalion. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about something that I know even some of you might find controversial. But you come to me for the uncensored, unbridled truth. That's what I'm here to give you, folks. Dr. Alpha is considered the most dangerous supervillain of our time. The lamestream media.
There we go. It's a Curly and Butterfly said, I remember hearing about an Aladdin live action where Jafar was the only normal person everyone else thought. Oh yes, we watched it on here actually. It was what was it? It was called. What was it? I forgot what was it called, Chad? But it was really funny. It was really funny. The it was like a live action version where it was a stage play where Jafar was like the good guy actually, and Aladdin's like this horrific creep, like this predator. And it turns out that Jasmine was Jafar's secret daughter and something like that, and Jafar was a good guy. And all the evils happened to happen because he was trying to do things, but like he hired people who were just evil. It was good. It's pretty funny. See, Tamer Spoon 3 says, my little brother had an emotional meltdown on his birthday one year, so we sang happy birthday and ate cake without him. He was upstairs being upset. I mean, if you don't want to participate, then, you miss out. You miss out. Hello to you, Abrasione. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Cardiac just is neglecting you and idolizing your sibling. Typical villainous backstory. Exactly. I can see that happening though. It's like it's not even like the other. It's not even the sibling's fault. It's like the parents' fault. Where it's like, she maybe she might even love her older sister, but the parents are so doting on the younger sister that they kind of forgot the older one, so she became kind of villainous and resentful. It's one of those interesting situations, right? I'd say it was you have to be wary of people like Netflix moving on into religion because there's so many false prophets and false shepherds. Don't listen to them. This is kind of like a be happy they're trying to move to religion, I guess, but be wary. Always be wary. And see chat. Yeah, it's called Twisted. That's what it was. Twisted. It was a pretty funny play. It was a really funny play. I like it. Anyway, chat. Anyway, let's get down to business, shall we? Let's get down to business. Let's see. Is this easy for Black Rabbit? Hello, Lifty and Best Chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's check it out, chat. Let's check it out. So we have a Clownfish TV video on this particular topic and should be interesting. Netflix has found religion. It gets taken to church. Just check it out.
Well, this is pretty interesting. It looks like Netflix might have found religion. I think they're looking for a little extra money.
It's a faith and family films. Interesting. It's like weird that I guess they found out that their series of movies and TV shows about this blatant hedonism and Satan worship and stuff. It's not really selling to the family people. Not really selling to most people. It's selling to their friends on Blue Sky, but it's not really selling to regular people because regular people are more. They want to find spiritual enlightenment. They want to find family. They want to have some togetherness, some wholesomeness. All right, they're not really into this worshiping at the altar of hedonism and weird sexuality, like this degeneracy. They're just not really into that, and they're not really into like, oh, here you go, son or young daughter or whatever. Here's Netflix. Have fun. I'm gonna go do something else. Like they've been like just destroying the trust in the system for a long time. And it's kind of like there's a guy who used to be into comics and everything, but he got into some other stuff like the trials and celebrity stuff. That Umbrella guy, I really like that guy. He was pretty fun. Hasn't been around in a while, but he was pretty cool guy. He was I kind of met him and stuff. He was I think he's one of the first guests I ever had on stream. I think he's the first guy I ever streamed with. Actually, wasn't that Umbrella guy. And the first guest of Morning Nonsense was Kami Mark. But the thing is, it was pretty cool. He was pretty interesting. He's still around, I think. He's just doing something else now instead of talking about comic books. But that's kind of what he was doing at first, comic books and weeb stuff. But thing is, he had this interesting complaint because he bought his daughter like a Batgirl comic book, right? And in that Batgirl comic book, it wasn't really about superheroes. It was about like the what is the superheroes main friends or whatever going to a fertility clinic or something like that because they were like trans or something. It's like and that brought up the topic of like you can't really trust them anymore. Like you used to be able to trust. Let me pick up a comic book that's kind of like Batgirl or whatever. So if they're a girl or Batgirl or Robin or whatever, it might be good for kids. It might be suitable for kids. You just pick one up, give it to your kid, let them read. In fact, that's how a lot of people and superhero fans in America began their journey into superhero comics as kids, right? Even Stan Lee acknowledges this, where he kind of found out that kids read comic books, or with the predominant audience of his comic books, and he started to change things so that he doesn't wound anybody, that he doesn't give them wrong lessons or anything because they're kids. They don't really know any better. Like an adult can like go, yeah, it's that's pretty cool, but I still know it's wrong. A kid go, oh, that's cool. It must be right, right? Here's the thing, though. The system was broken because of the politics. Now, like the people, families and families in general, and people who are dads like Tug and everything, don't really want to expose their kids to all this degeneracy and weird sexual stuff that became prevalent in these comic books, and they became prevalent in these comic books because they wanted to instill normalcy of this degeneracy, right? That's what their goal was. So that was it. Like people lost faith in these systems, these outlets, like, right? So one of the biggest benefits Netflix had, one of the biggest benefits Disney had, and the superhero comic books had, was that they had the parents' trust. That was a huge thing. Now there could be that they had little different systems out there for, like, Vertigo, for example. Like parents could be like, okay, it's Vertigo, or that's Marvel Knights or something like that. It's clearly meant to exude a feeling of adultness. Like, don't give your kids this one, right? But a lot of these other characters, like in general, are supposed to be child friendly, or at least accessible to children. Like Supergirl or Batgirl or whatever. So it should be accessible to kids. Like, it shouldn't be that tough or that offensive. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But that Umbrella guy kind of gave his daughter this Batgirl comic and found out, what the hell? It's about gay stuff and fertility clinics because they're trans or whatever. They don't want that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to expose their kids to that. So one of the biggest things these systems had was the trust of the family. Like, all I have to do is just subscribe to Netflix and then turn on the 4Kids thing or whatever, so they don't get into too much trouble. And then Netflix started showing shows that were made for kids, but still had all this sexual deviancy in it. Like, what the hell? They still had all these moments in there, and that the parents don't want them to be exposed to. And suddenly, everyone started unsubscribing. This lost so many people. So it wasn't really just about people are not interested anymore. It wasn't just about that. It was more along the lines of people losing trust in these systems. Like, it's one thing to go, okay, here's a thing that's for adults. Okay, well then it shouldn't be in Netflix Kids, for example, right? They shouldn't be in the kids versions of the stuff, or it shouldn't be getting through the guidelines or the parental locks or something, or the filters or whatever, right? It's saying it's for kids. Like, it looks like it's for kids, animated. It's saying it's for kids. It's not like an adult animation or anything like that. And then suddenly they turn it on and there's like a lesbian couple and two dudes kissing and all that stuff. So families don't want that in general. They just don't. They had lost the trust in these systems where they used to be able to go, I'm going to go do something else I'm going to go cook dinner or whatever. Let me turn on Netflix. Let me turn on Disney Plus. You watch this, you have fun with it. I'm going to go do something else, right? And they can't do that anymore, because whatever they could be turning on some kid show, quote unquote, and be exposed to weirdness like that. And that's not necessarily what needs to be done. So of course they lost trust and started unsubscribing. I think it's kind of a big factor here. So Netflix moving towards gaining more faith and family related films is a good business step if someone there noticed this trend. Right? If parents they notice a trend of parents stopping the trust of Netflix and all this stuff, of Disney Plus, and now they're moving towards, oh, this is going to be good for family. It's going to be good. This is a family friendly stuff. This is going to be good for people of faith or whatever. That's probably why religious movies and stuff like that are gaining more traction while everything else is going down. Probably it's probably the reason, I would say. And if they do get that trust back, I'd say their numbers probably will go up. But there's a lot of bad faith that they need to conquer first before they start getting these benefits. So I guess we'll see.
I think they are getting tired of chasing off audiences because of their content. I don't think Netflix is afraid of losing its soul. I think
it's TK Ultra says, if you want to get technical, CBS Saturday morning cartoons and CBS after school specials used to do that. Yeah, I used to watch PBS. I think you mean PBS or CBS. I used to watch PBS. Which was good. It had Sesame Street. I got a lot of stuff from PBS. I used to watch it a lot. It was not only Sesame Street. It had like all these things about books. This Between the Lions was one of them. I used to watch that one. They used to have a lot of cool shows on there that were also educational. So they kind of wanted to help kids. But now it's like, instead of like teaching kids how to read or enjoy stories, right? Enjoy stories and stuff like that. It's like, we need to teach kids about how awesome it is that two dudes can kiss. How awesome it is, like, oh, we got the first homeless person. Feel sorry for this person. Like, come on. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah, we need to teach kids good lessons. It's so manipulative that now everything is geared towards, you must accept X, you must accept Y, you must accept A, you must accept this, normalize that. How about instead of normalize this and accept that and knock out Jesus with a wiffle ball bat, which is what they tend to be trying to push? How about you teach them actual lessons that they can use? How about you teach them to appreciate the power of stories, how to read, how to appreciate people, how to connect with things? What was it? What was it called? It was called Zaboomafoo or something like that. Right? They teach about animals. Like, yeah, there's like this shows there that touch you about different animals and what they're up to. Like what kind of animals do what? Where can you find them? And it was cool. They had a lot of cool stuff like that. Also they had very educational shows, so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You could trust putting your kid in front of PBS back then, and then knowing that they'll come away with maybe some entertainment at the very least, but also maybe some others, some knowledge, some new knowledge or new appreciation for something, instead of like being indoctrinated into the Rainbow Mafia. Yeah, it was good stuff, but now it's like you can't do that anymore as a parent, because you could sit your kid down in front of PBS and like, what's going to happen? It's going to teach you about gay dudes and trans stuff, and who knows what else. They're teaching your kid to be trans, teaching your kid to be gay. They're trying to push the rainbow agenda on people now. It's just, and they're blatant about it. It's not like a conspiracy. They just kind of outright say it. So it's not even a strange like assertion. It's blatantly in there, like with Tug, his Batgirl comic, right? So it's just, you can't, and parents don't want their kids exposed to sex at all. It's kind of why they turned on PBS in the first place. Like they don't want that at all, let alone like just the degeneracy that the leftists try to uphold. Not just gay stuff, but degeneracy. We saw pride parades, right? Where it used to be just a bunch of people marching. Now it's a bunch of dudes in kink and stuff like that, just walking around with their dicks out. That's what they're trying to push. That's the main thing that I think parents would take issue with. Like just, oh yeah, here kids, here's some gay dudes in bondage and dog collars, their dicks out. Like they don't want that. They don't want to see that.
I think Netflix is afraid of losing subscribers. Remember, there was a big controversy a couple of months ago during the Warner Brothers acquisition debacle, where Netflix was going to buy Warner Brothers at one point, that a lot of senators are like, why are your cartoons so not necessarily family friendly? Why are there so many gay cartoons? What's going on with you, Netflix?
Yeah, see, I haven't even seen this video, so I already know. Man, Netflix CEO grilled during heated Senate hearing over trans content see, it's not even me being crazy. It's literally happening. It's literally happening in Senate hearings, and it's a national concern, like literally a national concern. So yeah, it's not just me being crazy. This is what's literally happening.
And they got grilled over that. Now all of a sudden, some of those shows disappeared, but it looks like they're trying to pivot to family. And look, this isn't, again, because they actually found religion or decided they needed to turn over another leaf. The only thing they want to turn over are $100 bills. But they're probably looking at the winds of change, and we're seeing that some Christian or family-based movies are making money at the box office. So Young Washington made a bunch of money. Was it last weekend or the weekend before?
Like, you know why this is, well, at least one of the reasons why this is the case, is because it's niche now. Like family-friendly, truly family-friendly, faith-driven media is now niche, because so much else is driven by like this weird agenda, and they're not family-friendly. At least not considered family-friendly by actual families. And so finding actual family-friendly stuff is niche now. And that's kind of what that's an interesting thing, because if you are in the world of indie stories, like indie books and something like that, one of the things they tell you to do to get some traction is to find a really novel niche, like a really niche of a niche, like a not sci-fi, but like sci-fi with vampires, and not just that, but sci-fi, vampire, occult mystery, where the vampire fights the werewolf. You know, it's like really, really specific because there are fans there, and it's but there isn't a lot of content there, and so boom, they kind of rush to, like, they see a new book in this particular genre, they rush to it. Like, and you don't have very much competition. So I think the same thing is happening here, where now they have truly family friendly films, right? Truly family friendly. And so they see a truly family friendly film and they rush to it. This is boom. It's like magnets. And they don't really have that much competition. And they deliver on their promises, and boom, they get a lot of money because there's not that much competition. Now, Netflix might try to do this, but they're still Netflix, right? So they're like, oh, here's a family friendly film, and it's about it's about the saints or something like that. And then what's going to happen? They're going to have two guys kissing in the background or something like that. They're still going to try to put that in there. They're not going to they're going to learn a single lesson. They're just going to try a different sneaky way of doing it, I'm pretty sure. But really, all they have to do is just give people regular family friendly movies like they used to.
When was 4th of July? Last weekend. I don't know what day I'm on. And it actually beat out Supergirl. There have been multiple other Christian movies that have done well at the box office, surprisingly. I mean, I know we went to the theater a couple of months ago, and I can't remember what movie it was, but like they were bussing in people from.
Does it really need to be family friendly either? Like, we saw Obsession do really well, right? Because people want just regular movies again. Everyone's tired of the corporate sanitized stuff where it's like, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know, the man's going to be an idiot. Everyone's gay. Everyone's trans. Anyone who says anything negative about the situation is evil, bigot, time to die, or whatever. The woman is the smartest person in the room, and they might be quirky, but everyone else has to put up with them. And if you don't put up with them, you're evil or whatever. We know exactly what's going to happen because every movie must be the same thing, because every movie must adhere to the same ideology. You can't have women be awful or evil. You know, the main characters can't be awful or evil. They can't be seen to be weak or anything like that. Even if they're supposed to be evil villainesses, they still have to be strong and competent and all that stuff, right? And trying to make their movies more diverse and more interesting, they made them all universally the same. We know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to end up happening with the character arcs. There are no character arcs, but I know what's going to happen. And I know I've been rewatching some of my old favorite shows, right? We're watching some of my old favorite shows like House and stuff like that. And this trek through Venture Brothers has been so refreshing because they're focusing on the interesting story, the drama of the characters. And if you haven't seen these things before, you don't really know what's going to happen. Like, you don't know if Orpheus's daughter shows up. You don't actually know what's going to happen. You don't know that. Oh, it's like she meets Dean Venture, and like they have a little interesting conversations like this. She kind of laughs at his awkwardness, but he's not like an idiot. Like he's still kind of smart because he's Dean, right? She's not making fun of him. She's not like above him. She's just, in fact, she kind of defends the Venture Brothers against her dad. She's like, please don't embarrass him, Dad. Please, for me. Like, they're friends. They're regular people instead of these corporate sanitized caricatures that they kind of put forth as people. Let's see. So the fat says, what's the latest from the pop cult wasteland? Well, Netflix is turning a corner. Well, it seems, possibly. Dak Karai says, good morning. A cute anime girl think is probably a guy. Probably. But speaking of anime girls, though, it's kind of why anime is winning the West, because they even despite the fact that their anime girls tend to be really powerful, really highly competent, sometimes even more competent than the guy, and also so likable that they just effortlessly and organically become the face of the show they're in, despite not being the main character. They still are women. They're still women. They're still very feminine. They still like boys. They still, all the stuff is all the stuff that they hate, the Westerners hate, anime girls still have. But because they have that, they're also allowed to be really, really powerful, competent, and strong, and no one cares. Everyone finds them delightful, right? Because they still have some good traits to them, like being in like they like the tsundere, right? The weebs love the tsundere trope. The tsundere trope is that the girl is mean. The girl is mean to you, but what makes her so endearing is that she's mean to you to cover up the fact that she likes you. She covers up the fact that she's more caring. She doesn't necessarily need to like the main character. It's the fact that there's underneath is some hint of humanity, some hint of being a good person, that sort of thing. So that's what we like. It's kind of why the trope jerk with a heart of gold works, because it's why House works, because they put him in front of being an asshole, being a jerk, but underneath you can tell that they actually care. There's something there that makes them human. Let's see. Jurassic 15 says, so I have to mention a really important thing about my previous question. If you had to write comic or TV show for women, what would it be about? I mean, if I was hired to, like, okay, here's a thing, you gotta make this for women. All right. So it would be about the struggle of emotion. So it would be emotional growth and social conflict. So they won't necessarily have to fight like an alien invasion, but there will be some sort of emotional, some sort of social conflict there. Like, she's an awkward nerd, and she has to like try going into a new school, trying to fit in, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was so good because it appealed to both men and women, right? She had social conflict because she's trying to fit into school, because she was a Slayer, and she had to fit into school, and she was trying to be a regular girl, despite having the responsibility of being the Slayer. But also, it had like all this cool vampire action, right? She was slaying vampires. This is also what guys like. The guys want to see this cool action stuff where you fight vampires. All right, they're trying to push forth this idea that men can't really comprehend because we're just dumb cavemen. They can't really understand or connect with or comprehend a female main character. That's what they're trying to push, which is absolute nonsense. But it makes them feel better, I guess. But to get women in there, to have the show appeal to women, it has to be social conflict and emotional growth. So they'll overcome something emotionally, which is why all these women love emotional slop, which is why the markets are flooded with romantasy. It's this blatant emotional slop. What you want is some good substantial emotional growth and social conflict. So, you can't be together because of XYZ. You want some of that. You want some, she's a nerd and she's an outcast. So if she wants to like try to fit in a little bit more. This is so ingrained in women that you even have this conflict in these cringy stories made by women, like in Turning Red. Turning Red has this conflict. She was a bit awkward. Like Turning Red, they want to do both. They want to make her super cool and awesome, but also still the awkward nerd who needs to struggle socially, but also not receive consequences for being the awkward nerd. Like nobody cares. No, it's really there's one bully that Mei has, and it's that no one, and it's like a bully with no charisma. But also you get this with Teenage Kraken, the Teenage Kraken movie by I think DreamWorks. Same thing, trying to fit in. It's always the same thing with women. Even more stories geared around older women. It's still the same thing. Like the relationship of this guy is crazy. This guy is super handsome, but he's also popular with a bunch of women. He's a rake. That's kind of what they're called, a rake, where he's like a rich man who can have any woman, but he has eyes for her. And this is like Twilight. It's about the main character falling in love with a vampire. But what's the main story? It's about the challenges of dating a vampire. Like the only real action scene I think we get was that fake dream sequence. It's really about the societal pressures that Bella gets from like Edward's family and stuff, and interclan politics and things. Harry Potter is about social conflict still, because even though it's a dude, it's still a woman writing it. So Harry Potter is less about battles and epic duels and stuff like that. I mean, that's in there, but the focus is on social conflict. It's about Umbridge's hatred for half-breeds. It's about the struggles between the Muggles and the Wizards. It's about Voldemort being so hateful towards wizards who are impure blooded, that sort of thing. That's probably one of the biggest struggles. It's about Harry Potter struggling with being the boy who lived, both the benefits and the negatives of that. It's about the Ministry of Magic and the Daily Prophet turning against our heroes and trying to make things very tough for them socially. That's kind of what happens. That's how women think. It's about, I'm not going to destroy you. I'm going to tear you down by tearing down your reputation, your how people perceive you. That's how women fight, right? That's how women do things. And so, men will have let's punch each other. And that's, every playthrough Metal Gear Solid 4, it ends with the old man Snake and old man Revolver Ocelot punching each other. That's how it usually happens, which is why the superhero genre is manly. It's for men, because what happens in superhero genres, the superhero genre, what's supposed to happen is the story ends with the two guys fighting. The good guy is fighting the bad guy in a punch out or something like that, or an epic battle. That's how it's supposed to go. So if I were hired to write something for women, I would know that this needs to revolve around social conflict, primarily around social conflict. It might have battles or whatever in there, but the battle is kind of almost set dressing towards what really is happening, which is, during the eve of battle, the female knight learns that her fiance has cheated on her with the princess, right? Something like that. That'll be it. There's still a battle going on, but the main focus is that the female knight is now in emotional chaos because on the eve of the battle, she learned that her beloved fiance has betrayed her in the harshest emotional way, most emotional way. So that's kind of what it would be like. That would be the main focus of the story. Anyway, chat, that checks out.
From churches to go see this movie, and I'm sure everybody in the comments will be like, I know what it was. I was on that bus. Yeah, we were there for another movie. We're like, why is it so busy on an afternoon? And here it was like a church trip or something like that. So that's what they're looking at.
See, the core drama movies are feminine. Not necessarily. Everyone likes drama. Even men like drama. It all depends on what flavor of drama it is. Now, here's the thing, though. It just kind of goes down to Star Trek a little bit. So there's an episode in DS9 where it is it's about a Klingon lawyer suing Worf, and Klingon lawyer, it was there's a Klingon lawyer, yes, yeah, but the thing is, yes, because that's a contest, all right, it's a contest, and so even though it's not actual actual punching each other, it is a contest. It's kind of why sports movies are also very masculine. They're not actually fighting each other, but it's a contest of skill. Whenever you have competition, it's also like that. So competition, battles like that, like court dramas where it's this guy versus this guy, it draws in men. The competition draws in men. Now the drama of it, the social drama of it, will draw in women. It's kind of why these kind of movies tend to draw in both. They draw in both. It's just that's why it's so cool. That's why it's so cool when you have the court dramas. That's why it's so interesting, because it draws in both for those reasons. But the competition, okay, this guy versus this guy, it's pretty cool. And then women will this is the social conflict in there. Anyway.
And they probably want to compete with Tubi. They want to compete with, Fox and Roku and all that. And we know that, Fox is buying Roku. They're probably going to merge Tubi and Roku. And they are more conservative, more family focused. So this is all about the money. Whether or not the people there actually believe it, I don't think so. I think this has always been about the money. I think even
it's good to know. Yeah, it's just even I'm not even making this up, or it's not even just on me. This is from studies and stuff like that too, where everyone likes drama. Everyone does. Men and women love drama. So if you want a show that appeals to everyone right off the bat, you're going to have to center around drama. That'd be the focus. But you're going to draw in men with contests and competitions. It's all part of the whole thing. It's all part of the study. Men like conquest, competitions, gathering resources. So a movie about a bunch of men trying to mine gold would be something that men would like. And then women like the whole thing about partner growth, emotional growth. That sort of they like things about social stuff. If I want the movie about a guy trying to make his girlfriend happy before she dies of cancer, like until she dies of cancer. That's going to be for women. It's a man main character, but it's going to be for women because that's social conflict. It's emotional growth. Even though it is sad, it's emotional growth into social conflict. What do you do as a guy in that situation? Do you leave her, or do you dedicate those months or a year or whatever it is to your girlfriend who's dying, and like cut off everything else and dedicate a bunch of your time to her while she dies? Like that's social conflict, social pressure. Because you could leave. You have an option of leaving. You have the option of abandoning her. But what makes it so fun, which makes it so interesting to women, is that he doesn't. That's what makes it romantic. He can choose to walk away. In fact, a good chunk of men probably would. Like, oh, this is not my problem. I'm going to go live life. Good luck. But the fact that he chooses not to leave, he chooses to stay dedicated to her, despite the fact that it would be easier for him and better for him personally to leave her and abandon her. He doesn't, and that's what makes it romantic. That's what makes it romantic in a woman's eyes, right? There's the social pressures. There's all the social pressure. The conflict is that he should leave, but he chooses not to, and that's where the real feeling of romance kind of starts to generate. And where there's a pulp magazines are dying out, and there are only a few sci-fi and fantasy magazines left. Same with mystery, and many of them have woke mandates, like the award organizations. Yeah, just They really want to push the idea. Oh, we gotta award this person because they're trans. We saw this happen too. It's not really a thing that's conjecture. This actually literally happens. We saw this. Like with that guy pulling that experiment where he kind of gave himself like an African sounding name or something like that, and then just wrote a bunch of nonsense, and then turned it in, claiming that, oh, I'm from Africa. I have this really African sounding name. Also, I'm like disabled and trans and autistic or whatever. And then they got awards, even though whatever they sent in was just absolute literally nonsense. Not just bad poetry, but it's like he let the cat walk on his keyboard and sent that in. It was up for some awards. It was crazy. So it's not really a conjecture. This literally is happening. Absolutely.
With the LGBTQ kids shows, I think they chased that audience thinking that they were going to get a lot of subscribers off of that. And it turned out that there was no appetite for it, right? Because the parents didn't want the kids watching it or didn't know the kids were watching it. Mostly it was Tumblr artists creating cartoons for other Tumblr people and didn't really increase their.
In other words, the modern audience. That's what the modern audience means. It means, quote unquote, for me, just for me and my blue sky friends. That's what that means.
Subscriptions at all. In fact, it got them in a lot of trouble. And I think this is probably just the optics too. They want to be like, look, guys, we've also got this wholesome Christian content that you can watch, in addition to whatever the hell else we're doing over on Netflix, disguised as children's programming, right? So let's talk about what's going on here. I got to give a hat tip to Vinny, who sent this over. And it's coming from Bleeding Fool, not to be confused with Bleeding Cool, but Bleeding Fool. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about this. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV content that you will not find anywhere else. Check it out. You can also catch up on our podcast episodes out there. And if you'd like to listen to us, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Thank you very much for the support. Let's talk about this again, coming from Bleeding Fool, but they got it from the Insnider. Now, this guy gets it right often. This is an entertainment news insider guy, and he has gotten it right. And it does look like Netflix is trying to position itself as a competitor to Tubi and Roku, as is Disney. And we talked about that the other day. They all want to do these 24/7 streaming channels, which it's basically cable, right? At that point, it's basically cable television again. But I think they know that to win the families back, they're going to have to probably lay off of the Tumblr fanfics, right?
Oh yeah, because those are not only are they just hedonistic and degenerate, they're also just cringe. Like even if you just ignore all of that, they're just bad writing. They're just horrible.
Because it's not.
That's probably what's really hurting them, is that they're just bad.
It's not
like they'll sit their kids in front of the even if they're not noticing the degeneracy, right? They'll sit their kids in front of the TV or Netflix or whatever, and they'll watch this cartoon, and the kids are just like, they'll just walk away. Like, they don't want to watch this because it's just awful. It doesn't make any sense.
Now that it's been outed that there are all these cartoons out there that families would probably find objectionable, and the fact that it took people so long to realize that a lot of these quote unquote children's shows were not actually kid friendly, but they were actually Tumblr cartoons.
Yeah, Tumblr cartoons are just kind of propaganda. That's pretty much what it was.
Disguised as children's shows tells me that nobody was watching those shows, or people would have picked up on it years ago. I mean, a lot of the shows that they were getting outraged about were actually canceled like years ago. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, did you hear about Paranormal whatever park? Oh my God. And it's like, yeah, that show's already been canceled because nobody watched it. Right? Nobody was watching it. But yeah, they want the families, because the families are revenue drivers for advertising. So to get families, they're going to have to do more family-friendly stuff. But let's see what Bleeding Fool has to say first, and then we'll go out to the Insider. So Netflix is tightening its movie strategy, and new reporting points to a major shift.
Anyway, that's enough. We got the point here. Let's move on to the cringe of Moana, the cursed movie series. Let's check it out, chat. It's so bad. Moana's bad. People told me Moana 1 was good. They all lied to me. Moana 1 is terrible. Although it's not as bad as Moana 2, but it's still pretty bad. The only good thing about Moana is Maui. Maui is pretty good. But everything else is awful. It sucks. Like Frozen. Frozen actually sucks as a movie for the most part. I mean, it doesn't suck as much as the movies that we would eventually get, but it's still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad. Like, most of the songs are just nonsense. Like, it really does kind of herald in the dark times of Disney. They have like 2 good songs in Frozen, which is Do You Want to Build a Snowman, which is pretty good because it shows the conflict between Elsa and Anna, and it's a pretty good song. And also, of course, Let It Go, which is a song about kind of like breaking free of your own emotional shackles. And it's not really it's a transitioning song that transitions Elsa over to her breaking free of her own misgivings, her own self-hatred, and going and trying to be free. But eventually her course of action goes into returning as queen eventually, which is good. However, the movie is not that great at all. It's I would say it was terrible, but I've seen way worse since then. It's just not good. The songs, the Let It Go, really good. Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Really, really good. Most of the rest of the movie, pretty bad. Moana, terrible, awful. Frozen, really bad. All this stuff is really bad. It's all terrible stuff. I don't know why people said they were good. I just don't. I can't see the good parts of it, and the only parts of it I can see that people might say that people would come to the conclusion they were good is Moana had Maui, and Frozen had this really big emotional song called Let It Go. Those are the real main reasons why I could see why people would say these are good movies, because there's these big, powerful emotional moments. But overall, these movies are bad. Really bad. It's kind of like, just wait, there was other songs. I've never seen Frozen. All I know is those 2 songs. Yeah, there's other songs. There's a whole song about Kristoff and Anna being together. Like, this, the trolls like instantly see Kristoff come back with Anna. It's like, oh, it's a girlfriend. And there's a whole song about this misunderstanding. They give a misunderstanding an entire song. I was like, what is this? Now, it would be less of a waste of a song, less of a waste of time, if that trope if the fan theory is true, that the trolls caused the prince to turn evil suddenly, so that Kristoff could get with Anna because Anna was in love with the prince. If they made that canonical, it would kind of make sense why that song would be there, story wise. But we don't really get that. We don't really understand that. That's not really made clear. So the song is still a waste of time, technically speaking. And say, Let It Go was really good, both story wise and as a song. So was Do You Want to Build a Snowman? But everything else is pretty bad.
One of the things I appreciate about modern culture is how quick and efficient everything's become. See, it used to be that you had to wait at least a generation to see your favorite childhood movies and franchises get completely bastardized by pointless, creatively bankrupt, soul-sucking, cash grab remakes. But Disney, bless their shriveled black heart.
Oh man,
He's getting
I saw that movie too.
completely bastardized by pointless, creatively bankrupt, soul-sucking.
Oh man, Mufasa, my brother. This is so bad. This is a horrible movie. It's so cringe. Not only is it bad as a movie, it's also really cringe, and it's like almost unforgivable. I mean, come on. Also, you had Mads Mikkelsen, and you made him a villain, okay, but didn't you give him like the weirdest song, which is like a "Time to Go Bye Bye," which is really weird for a man to sing. Like if you made "Time to Go Bye Bye," I did this too. I put the lyrics in Suno, and I made it. All I did was switch it from a man to a woman, and it sounds way better because the villain song, "Time to Go Bye Bye," I think is what it's called, is really sassy. It really feels like it should be sung by a woman, not a man. So it's a woman's villain song being given to sing by Mads Mikkelsen, and it's very strange. Time to go bye bye. It's very sassy. So it should be a woman singing it, not a man singing it. They couldn't even get this right. It's awful.
In cash.
Also, the song itself, like if you just, it doesn't really matter who sings it, man or woman. The song is just awful. It's really bad. Like you look at the "Time to Go Bye Bye" song, it's really horrible lyrics. It was like it was made by some intern. Like, we need a Disney song. Get the intern to write it. And it's kind of what it feels like. There's no mastercraft here. Mufasa was a blatant cash-in. It was a blatant cash-in. It really was. They didn't put any effort in this. The only people who put effort in this are probably like the CGI guys.
Grab remakes, but Disney, bless their shriveled black hearts, have found a way to fast-track the whole process with Moana, a live-action remake of an animated movie that came out in 2016. What are we even doing here, lads? Like, seriously, this is like some kind of weird social experiment at this point. How much of the same crap can you shove down people's throats before the gag reflex kicks in and they try to fight you off? Well, in Tatiana's case, you'd be quite surprised. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that live-action Moana, coming barely a decade after the original and hot on the heels of Moana 2, has got to be one of the most baffling movie releases of the entire year, or any year for that matter. I just can't figure this one out, man. Snow White, for all its faults, I could at least understand on a commercial level because it was a remake of a movie from the 1930s. This is a remake of a film so new that the little kids who watched it back in the day are still teenagers now. Anyway, all of this is my way of saying that Moana is a bad movie. Not bad in the same way that Supergirl was bad. Jesus, it might suck, but it's not dangerous. But bad in the way that a low-effort cover band charging the same ticket prices as the original is bad. Bad in the way that a cheap Temu knockoff of some high...
Yeah, so here's the thing between like different versions with different flavors of bad. So there's kind of like this, like I guess The Force Awakens or whatever. There's also things like Moana, Frozen, these, The Force Awakens. These are just bad movies, right? Now, then there's like, then there's dangerously bad, which are movies and TV shows and video games or whatever that actively teaches people bad lessons, which is mixtape, like mixtape. That's the recent controversy, right? The mixtape controversy, where it's all about how you should rebel against your dad, and you should, and if he doesn't let you, if he puts too much pressure on you, if he gives you like restrictions and house rules and wants you to be a good person to stop hanging out with criminals, then you should start burning things down and start threatening to commit vandalism and to continue doing horrible things until he gives up unless you do whatever you want. Horrible lessons, horrible life lessons. So there's a little bit difference here. Like a movie can just be bad. It can just be awful. And the frustration comes from like, this could have been a good movie. But then there's really bad. There's Dangerous, which is a movie that's out there actively teaching people the wrong lessons. All right, and even worse, they're being peddled as kids' movies to teach kids the wrong lessons. See, that's the big difference here.
Quality brand furniture is bad. Ultimately, what this film is a copy, a lazy replica, an inferior clone of something that was actually pretty good. A movie that has absolutely no reason for existing except the hope of squeezing more money out of retarded Disney audiences. And apparently it's not doing too well at that either. Anyway, let's get the plot synopsis over with. And this should be an easy one because it's literally the exact same story as the original. So anyway, Moana is a young girl living on an island in the South Pacific, and in typical Disney fashion, she dreams of leaving her small life behind and exploring the wider world. But her family tell her no, she has to stay behind and take command of the tribe. But when shit hits the fan, her gran tells her that some arsehole named Maui once stole the heart of an ocean goddess like 1,000 years ago, and if they don't find him and get him to return it soon, their island's gonna get destroyed by a bad volcano demon. That right there is her quest. So she sets sail and immediately gets shipwrecked, but that's okay because she just so happens to wash up on Maui's island so that the rest of the plot can happen, and so the movie becomes a kind
Now, Maui really, Moana really should have been Maui. I think this is they're only called Moana because we can't really have a man be the main character, right? We can't really have that happen. So we got to have a female main character, and she has to be a super cool Mary Sue lady. Her main thing is that she's so cool, the ocean loves her, and so the ocean is her bitch. Really, Maui does all the work in both movies. Really, both movies, Moana 1 and 2, have been so much better had it just centered around Maui, but they can't do that because Maui's a man. This whole anti-man crusade is really hurting them because these movies would have been so much better, like legitimately so much better, if we just followed Maui around and looked at his adventures.
of road trip buddy comedy on the ocean where Moana has to convince Maui to return the heart, but he's like, nah, I'm not doing that until you help me get my magical fish hook back. Jesus fucking Christ, talk about busy work. You've had like 1,000 years to get this hook back, mate. Are you seriously telling me you had to wait for some teenage girl to help you out? Anyway, so they get the hook and they go back to the island in time for the volcano demon to attack them, and Maui redeems himself by distracting it long enough for Moana to get to the demon, only to realize the demon is the ocean goddess who turned evil after Maui stole her heart.
Oh man! Oh god! Oh man!
So anyway, she puts it back and then everything's fine again. And that's it. That's the plot for Moana.
Right.
Just put the heart back and everything's fine. Which would be cool if that was like, if Maui was the main character and he came to, had to learn through trial and error that, come to terms with that what he did was wrong and then, overcome it. But now it's like Moana is super cool Mary Sue lady and is able to just fix things in the end. It really should have been about Maui. If the movie was about Maui and his character arc was learning that, not everything he does is good, not every god needs to be challenged or whatever, that would have been a pretty interesting character arc. It would have been a pretty cool character arc, especially since he is a demigod, and so we could see even demigods could make mistakes. Even demigods as cool as Maui can make mistakes and make the wrong move, and they still have lessons to learn despite being a demigod. But no, it's about Moana, and we just see a bunch of colors and a bunch of lights, and the story just kind of resolves itself.
Now, how best to describe this?
It could have been Moana solving things, but no, because at the end she goes into her avatar state and just finishes things off.
Movie. Well, when you reheat a takeaway the next day because you're too lazy and hungover to make yourself a proper meal, it's the same food you remember and it sort of looks the same, but it's all gone a bit stale and unpleasant now, and you've got a sneaking suspicion it's going to leave you glued to the toilet bowl for the rest of the day. Well, that's basically live action Moana for you. Like I said before, it's practically a shot-for-shot remake of the original, adding absolutely nothing new, expanding on none of the characters, scenes, or world building, and ultimately leaving you scratching your head why they even bothered to make it. You'd get the same exact effect if you ran the original through an AI filter and just told it to render it in photorealistic graphics. In fact, it would probably be a better experience because then you wouldn't have to deal with some of the worst prosthetics, least convincing wigs, laziest acting, and ugliest visuals I've seen outside of Rings of Power. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with The Rock's ridiculous wig and unconvincing muscle suit, but holy god, seeing his tiny old man head perched atop this gigantic disproportionate body almost makes Hassan Piker look normal. On that subject, actually, I suspect one of the big reasons for making this film now instead of waiting the obligatory 20 years was to get it out there while The Rock was still young enough to pull it off. The thing is, I hate to say it, but I think that ship might have sailed already. I can't fault the man's work ethic, obviously, but no amount of pumping iron can change the fact he's in his mid-50s now, and facially at least, He fucking looks it, especially after dropping a bunch of weight recently. The Maui from the animated movie was this big, expressive, larger-than-life character. He wasn't meant to look like a realistic human because, well, he wasn't, and it worked. The Rock's voice combined with the over-the-top animations hid his acting shortcomings, and it was a perfect combination. Now he just looks like, well, The Rock. And that is not a good thing in this movie. On the plus side, though, I can at least say that Catherine Lagaya does a good job as Moana. She's a good physical match for the character, she plays well off The Rock, and for someone who's never done a feature film before, I think she's a pretty good presence on screen. That's about it as far as my praise goes, though. Visually, this film's another massive downgrade. Again, the animated movie was this vibrant, colourful cartoon world that looked gorgeous because you could take it in the spirit it was intended. Trying to ground it in reality just leaves it looking flat and dull, and even worse, most of it looks like it was shot against a volume screen. The backgrounds look weirdly dimensionless and lit all wrong, and it's such a jarring disappointment because you'd think shooting in real locations would be the big pull of a film like this. All that being said, though, at least the production worked hard to cast authentic actors and do justice to Polynesian culture. Moana creatives on working closely to honour Polynesian culture and traditions and why representation matters in a live-action film.
Oh, I see. Representation matters, huh?
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Oh, fucking really? That's interesting, isn't it? Interesting how cultural fidelity and authentic casting suddenly becomes important when your movie is about the right kind of people. In fact, I'm pretty sure I made this exact point in my Odyssey video
a few days ago.
There's this weird assumption that every other culture, race, and ethnic group in the world are entitled to their own unique stories, history, and identity, and it all has to be carefully fenced off, protected, and respected. Whereas anything created by white Europeans is treated like some generic all-you-can-eat buffet that everyone's allowed to stick their hands into. Ladies and gentlemen, we officially live in Clown World. That's the only way I can describe it at this point.
And basically, if it's a representation, authenticity, and representation matters on screen in live action when it's brown people. When it's white people, though, you can make them all different kinds of races. That's when we have to start introducing diversity. That's when it doesn't really matter anymore.
Generations from now, academics are going to point to this period in human history and laugh their arses off about the sheer depth of our retardation. Anyway, I think I've wandered enough with this one. What I'm trying to say with all this pish is that the Moana live-action remake sucks, and if you want a viewing experience...
I mean, Moana sucks. So what kind of chance did the live-action remake have? Anyway, chat, let's check this out. So here's Disparu with this, going over like the fallout of this live-action movie. Check it out.
Moana is getting absolutely destroyed at the box office, and it's also a movie safe for the critics to dislike, coming in at just 36% and selling just 4 million in pre-sales, meaning the movie might be heading for 130 million global opening. Supergirl right now really glad that other movies are taking the heat. Please, sir, can I just flop in peace? The reviews for this have been absolutely savage, with The Telegraph coming in. Awful live-action Moana could have been made by ChatGPT. It's a demi...
Yeah, just it's the same thing could have happened with Wish, except I'm pretty sure at this point ChatGPT could have made a better version of what we get.
He got on autopilot, a dull live-action remake, sullies the good name of content, a waste of everyone's time and talent. I blame Dwayne Johnson for this dismal reboot.
It's kind of crazy that once USAID has been shut down, we started getting all these actual negative reviews in the media.
An exercise in how not to make a remake, and we even got a comment about this is why Hollywood deserves the AI takeover. Although I have to say my two personal favorites were quite simply, please stop. Vulture shows Allison is a woman of few words.
Please stop. We're tired, boss.
Really the best kind. Or we have Rendy reviews who just came out with the quite epic, please drown me. I'm not trying to tell you how to parent your kids, but don't subject your kids to this. It's the equivalent of waterboarding your child. If they show any signs of disappointment, congratulations, your kid has developed taste. Now, The Telegraph did come out and say Dwayne Johnson in a wig. This has apparently been a major controversy for the movie. Not that Dwayne seems to have grasped why it's a problem in the first place. I mean, firstly, they made you look like a woman, mate. You've had hair before. No one had a problem with that. It was this very specific look that people took an issue with. But Dwayne, He's like, nah, don't worry, I get it. I'm a pretty well-known bald actor. It's not the problem here, mate. It's that you look like you're trying to get a role in the Odyssey next to Elliot Page. But for once, the most interesting controversy didn't come from the negative reviews of the movie. In fact, I have to go all the way back to 2011 with this Entertainment Weekly article that says, do critics pick out certain movies to bash? Which is basically an article about how critics have famously not liked popular movies. A movie will do great at the box office, the audience will love it, but the critics, they'll be too highbrow. No, we don't like Transformers, actually. The popcorn flicks, it's not for us, it's too shallow.
Dichorise is too real at them. Stop noticing things. Stop noticing what's going on. They get offended if you notice too much.
Hello. We're professional critics, you see. But that isn't why I bring up the article, it's because this was written by Owen Gleiberman, one of the only critics I've seen that wrote an absolutely glowing review about Moana. This live-action remake works 100%, and somehow, by liking a movie, just managed to piss people off more. Because he's the same guy that wrote the most devastating Supergirl review. All of this makes me agree with Andrew. We need to study this guy's brain. He has takes all over the shop. You can't predict what he's going to like, what he's going to despise, or when he's going to stick his head above the parapet of critics and go, don't worry, I've got this, lads. I'll take the flak on this one. This review had people calling for Variety's early access to be removed, even though, yes, it did turn out to be correct. I'm not sure that lightning is going to strike twice, though. I mean, this is a 1 hour 55 movie with such high praise as Moana isn't necessarily the worst.
Man, it's almost a 2 hour movie. Like, okay, look, subjecting people to your live action remakes is bad enough, but don't stretch it out to 2 hours. Make it like an hour and a half max. Right? Everyone knows that these live action remakes are just awful. That's really, really bad.
Most of these remakes the studio has turned out. I mean, there has been in general more festering pieces of crap, but it somehow feels the most representative of the rot at the core of this artistic project. A cool glimpse of Polynesian culture. Are we sure about that? I mean, it's not really my area of expertise, but did he just go down the street? I'm gonna go to Tesco. I need to fetch my leaves. A lackluster cash grab. A money grab. Well, I really failed at that one, didn't it, then? This is the kind of...
It's like this is what happens. The 330 million global opening reported by trade yesterday now seem impossible. It might not even reach 100 million. Oh, man. Moana has sold only $4 million in pre-sales after nearly 1 month. The movie might not even reach 50 million in its domestic debut. It might not even ever reach 100 million. Was it the 130 billion global opening report by trades yesterday now seem impossible? It might not even reach 100 million. And how much money did they spend on this thing? It's probably a lot, right? Because I assume they had to hire a lot of guys to do the inhuman amount of CGI work on this movie. Let's see. Moana live action remake. Budget. Let's see what it says. So the budget for this was 250 million. They're going to lose $100 million. Best case scenario. I mean, they might lose 100 million, but probably 150 million. It might not even reach $100 million in revenue. And they keep doing this like every single time. It's like they keep doing this. The only time it really, again, like just we talked about earlier about how there's bad and there's dangerously bad. Unfortunately, the only time this really succeeded was with Lilo and Stitch, where it kind of changed so much that it gave you a horrible lesson, which is to abandon your family for your own selfish whims. That was the lesson of live action Lilo and Stitch. It's abandon your family. They want women to abandon families all over the place.
Money grab that Disney specializes in. The budget for the movie is either $200 or 250 million. 200 to 250 million. It might hit 130. If Oliver Twist was doing these kind of cash grabs, he'd starve to death. And it's now expected to make just $45 million in its opening. Maybe 40. Because on Friday, it pulled in significantly less than expected. And you have to remember, this was a movie originally expected to make 60 to 65 million in its first weekend. And it was bad then. Even Variety just...
Where are they getting these numbers from? Since when will these things make this much money? I guess people like Moana 1 for whatever reason. Like they were tricked into it or whatever. I don't know. But I never saw like Moana madness anywhere. Like there was never like, there's a huge cultural shift for Moana. Like we got with Frozen. That never happened. So I don't know why they're thinking like, oh yeah, opening weekend's going to be easily $100 million. Why? Because it's a Disney movie? Haven't you seen the last 10 years? What gives you the idea that there's going to be this huge surge and influx of people wanting to go see a live action remake of a 10-year-old movie? because even like this on its own, even if it was good, probably won't garner that much attention. But it's Disney live action, like 9.5 times out of 10, it's probably going to be awful. This complete trash. So it's. Where are they getting these numbers from? How do they get these numbers?
Describes a $40 million opening as catastrophic, given its $250 million budget and hefty global marketing spend. They looked at Supergirl's massive loss and thought, hold my beer. What's a real head scratcher is how it can feel so lifeless with real people. Virtually every aspect of this film feels stagnant, and fake as the bodysuits Dwayne Johnson wears during...
Oh man. Yeah, just it's corporate sanitized. That's why it feels so lifeless. You can't they might be live action people, but they can't really be human.
The film. Look, he's getting on now. There comes a time where you just can't keep pumping stuff into yourself. Oh, what a tragedy it'll be when at some point the movie industry realizes we can just show men who aren't on chemicals. Flat, dull, and uninspired. This Moana remake is a drag. I originally thought it said dog. That would have been funny. A carbon copy of the original, but it's worse in every way. I don't even know what that means. Actually, maybe I do. There are some things that get lost in translation. This is especially true in several English comedies, where they then take them to America, fill them with an American cast, keep the same script, and it's awful. They're literally the same words being said, but it does lose something in the translation, either with the way the different people look, or sort of...
It's puzzling, because Moana 2, which everyone said was bad, quietly made $1 billion last year, where this is flopping. Yeah. People don't... I mean, it's like you're getting this really big, flashy version of it from the animated version, and then you get like who wants to go see the duller version of a flashy movie? Like, who wants to see this? Like the animation of Moana, it's still because it needs to keep you dull and satisfied. It's so flashy and there's stuff constantly happening. Everything's so fast. Everything's so quick. There's this constant boom, 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 boom. There's stuff happening where it kind of lulls you into a state of receptiveness. And then they decided, you know what? How about we make a more boring version of this movie? And they thought, oh yeah, it's going to make a bunch of money if we just make it more boring and a lot less full of life. We'll take the life out of it, the humanity out of it, a lot less colorful. If we just make it boring, I think we could cash in on the same amount of money. I just kind of what they keep thinking. If we just make a boring version of it, we're going to make bank.
Just the general delivery of the lines. And in fact, the shows that tend to work when they go from England to America is where Americans turn it into their own thing, where they don't actually go for the carbon copy and do change it to fit the medium and the culture, like The Office or Top Gear. It's like you admit that in the conversion, you are going to lose something. And so instead you have to add new strengths from the medium. Otherwise, why change the medium in the first place? If you just go...
And say, hold on, chat. Be right back. Be right back. 1 second here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Info Battalion. We are live with the scariest news Washington liberals and their pet Gestapo in tights, aka those flying Nazis we call superheroes, floating around over our heads, watching everything we do like some kind of kinky, degenerate big brother, never wanted you to know. And you're about to hear it first and hear it live on Info Battalion. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about something that I know even some of you might find controversial. But you come to me for the uncensored, unbridled truth. That's what I'm here to give you, folks. Dr. Alpha is considered the most dangerous supervillain of our time. The lamestream media wants you to believe this guy's a monster. They want you to hate him. Now, sure, he's done some bad things. Built a doom cannon on the moon, vandalized the Mona Lisa, set off a nuke, traded hostages for the rights to Star Wars. But while the CIA was busy microchipping your kids, Dr. Alpha was busy microchipping the CIA. Ladies and gentlemen, I live in fear for the day my little girl won't have any rights left because the communists voted them all away. But I look to the news and see Dr. Alpha spitting in the faces of the devils who run the White House. And remember when he kidnapped that one vegan actress from Los Angeles and he made her eat a pound of hamburger on live television? Now that is always a classic. What I'm trying to say, folks, is while red-blooded patriots like myself lie awake at night waiting for the commies and capes to knock down my door and drag my children off to the glue factory, Dr. Alpha has the government and those Hollywood elites lying awake in fear. He's the one guy they can't stop. Dr. Alpha is a tyrant's worst nightmare. He's the sword of Damocles swinging over the heads of those soulless demons, and I'm loving every second of it. Love him or hate him, secret societies, governments, pampered Hollywood elitists, He's taking everything they're dishing out and shoving it right back down their throats. I'm proud to call him my fellow American, God bless Dr. Alpha. Anyway, folks, up next, is there a hole in the sun, and is that where the Illuminati are keeping Elvis? We'll find out in just a moment. This is Info Battalion.
Zero days without nonsense. I don't even know why I even look at the board anymore.
All right, chat, we're back. Made it back. We're here, ready to go. Let's see. Some Dr. Elvis accomplishments are right up there with some Carmen Sandiego. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Carmen Sandiego. That was a good show. That was a really good show.
Going to try and repeat what you've done before, why bother? A bit like gender swapping a superhero. That if you don't actually play into the strengths of the swap, why bother in the first place? You may as well have just left it how it was. A soulless venture, offering little inspiration to go beyond what has already been done. Unapologetic cash grab, painfully repetitive. It's a reasonable 3-star film, which it arrived at because it copies everything from a 5-star film. Rather than reinterpreting a masterpiece, it just recreates it, scene for scene, line for line. There is no...
Has you ever seen Smiling Friends in that episode where with the CEO guy, and he's just like, no, that's my popular property to sit on and do nothing with. That's kind of the opposite of this. Like, it's our property to ruin. Just why would they do this? It's so interesting that they're kind of like pumping out this crap and everyone's just hating it. They have no idea. It's like this guy, the guy at the top has no idea how to connect with the audience. They're like, okay, what if we just do a live action version of this popular film? It'd be more boring. I guess that's how do you come to this conclusion? At least make it interesting. At least try to make it instead of a shot for shot. It's like this whole thing with YouTube. Like YouTube used to do like a YouTube rewind, and so they kind of did this whole cringy woke rewind where they kind of celebrated all this like weird nonsense that everyone loves on Blue Sky, and then everyone hated it, right? So the following year, they're like, okay, we'll do it by the numbers. We'll just kind of put together a montage of all the videos that are popular that you like, apparently, because we're going by likes and stuff and views. And so this gave us like some generic robot compilation of videos that are just popular on YouTube, like PewDiePie's wedding or something. Like what does it do with anything? So it's like they know they're trying to find out where to go, but they're so out of touch with people that they just can't figure it out. Like we went to social media and we like all this stuff, right? All our friends like all this stuff. We like my friends and I like mukbangs and the animation stuff and trans stuff and gay stuff and drag because we live in a liberal bubble. So why is everyone hating this? Because most people don't live in that elitist liberal bubble. And so most people are just going to hate all this stuff. So the next time they just like, okay, well, we'll do by the numbers so you can't complain. And it was still bad. I mean, not just as bad, but still bad. So it really is like that CEO from Smiling Friends who has no idea how to connect with the people trying to sell to, and just resents the idea of catering to them in any way. Like, so that's a really bad combination. No one wants these live action remakes. Nobody does. Even people who like Moana or Frozen or whatever, they just don't want this. No one wants this stuff because live action remakes are just boring. They're way more boring than their cartoonish counterparts. The only way to get them to measure up is by doing a little something, leaning into the live action portion of it, which means we're going to have a little bit more realism, we can have a little more drama. But so far, their techniques have been, let's just remake the cartoon. It just kind of just don't really care about the live action part of the live action movie.
Fresh perspective. Meaningful reason for its own existence. It's an interesting point that if you're going to remake something, what made you decide to do it? Okay, so you're going from animation to live action. Why did you decide to do that? If your answer is money, it seems like people can tell. There was no new technology. You didn't think you could bring anything or add anything. Instead, it's just like Skyrim, updating the trees and then retelling you the same game all over again. I'm not remotely surprised by the Moana negative reviews, because this is one of those free pass to bash type movies. However, I know that even without seeing it, it wasn't worse than The Lion King, Snow White, or Mulan, and yet the score is lower than all three. And it's an interesting point because the Marvels got 63% compared to the Moana's 39%. Do we really?
Oh man, the Marvels even the Marvels did better than this. On the point about Skyrim, though, that's the benefit of actually putting together something good. Okay, when you put together something really, really good, you can sell it multiple times. It's kind of what happens. That's the genius move. Like instead of trying to pump out like forgettable slop, your best bet is pumping out something good. Like putting your efforts into something like this individually is really, really good on its own. That's how we still have this. We're still watching the original Star Wars trilogy, right? Even all these years later. Not only are we still watching it, it's topping the new stuff. Like people prefer the old Star Wars trilogy over the new Star Wars trilogy going by the numbers. So it really is. They have this whole mindset of content. Just make this thing. It kind of has some appeal for a few days, maybe a year. Then it goes out, and they have to remake something else. But they kind of forget about quality. Now, in the era of YouTube and streaming, it's the content era. So everyone kind of believes that if you just make something, just got to keep pumping crap out. Just keep pumping crap out. And that's kind of what they're trying to do, because it's really easy to just pump crap out when you've already made it and you're just going to make a live action version of it. But if you make something really good, like a well-crafted masterwork, you can sell it, resell it. You can put a new cover to it. You can give it a little spin or something like that. You can add more to it. You can make a special edition of it. You can keep selling it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's kind of what Disney used to do. Like, oh, it's going back in the Disney vault. Here's a Beauty and the Beast special edition, director's cut, or something like that. They used to sell these movies like that back when they were good. Because you could do that back when they were good. Oh, you bought this movie? Well, buy it again. But this time it comes with special features and a director's cut and a special edition, that sort of thing, collector's edition. So they don't do that anymore. Now it's just content. Everything is disposable media.
You think that Moana is going to be worse than the Marvels? Or is it because the Marvels was pitched as some sort of girl power movie and so they supported the message?
Black girl magic!
If your main critique is, it just did everything the same as this other thing that I really liked, it doesn't actually sound as if it deserves all the bile that it's getting, especially when it's getting more than the Marvels. It's just like, it's uncanny valley. It's awkward. More of the same. Just a cynical cash grab. It doesn't make any new creative choices to dampen the material. But that's like praising dingy water fountain for not coming out brown in comparison to Brita filtered tap water. The only meaningful difference is the change in medium, which somehow takes away the beauty and makes it look drab and ugly. Little to be surprised or excited by. Seems like a lot of the reviews are, I went and watched it and I just got what I was kind of expecting. But because it's a Disney kids movie, it's an allowable movie to bash to prove, we don't shill for everything, which is going to be interesting when we see the reactions to a movie coming out very soon. And because of these reviews, we have had people from the movie come out and start defending it. And so the director himself did an interview yesterday with Variety, where they specifically tackle this criticism that it's a one-to-one adaptation. Now, he does say it would be a mistake if you made a movie about Moana and didn't stick to the story. But we do revivals all the time. It's the lifeblood of our business. We try and breathe something new into the text. So we have scenes that are totally different people saying things, different joke, there's a different order. It's not a mirror of the original script in any way. It's the same story and the same characters, but it's not a one-to-one adaptation. And now I'm like, are you just trying to gaslight me? Pretty much every review is just complaining that there is nothing new in this.
It's just one for one. Yeah, every review is like, oh yeah, it's exactly the same, except boring. Because if you're in a position of this, I think what you should do is watch the original and then suss out why do people like it? Kind of figure out what people like about it, what really drives the interest from the fans of this movie. And then take that, whittle it down to the core elements and then make your live action movie about that. Like, and make it more centered around that element. You have that benefit, the benefit of a retrospective, a benefit of hindsight to find out, what should have been done better. Now, I know they do that today. We're like, oh, we corrected the wrongs of the anime. You could do that still, just do it well. Instead of trying to appease your own ego, find out what made this movie good or made the series good or whatever you're working on. Find out the heart and soul of that series, what made it really good, not what you wish it did more, right? It's kind of where a lot of the modern day creators are running into issues where they kind of change things based on what they wish it did as opposed to what made it good. Right? So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to find out what made it good. And then when you make your remake or your revival or whatever, you center your story around that because then the fans will resonate with that even in a much stronger way. And say, but you know that requires them to care about something other than their own personal ego, and that's just asking too much. I think that's the secret that they all kind of gloss over or ignore, or maybe don't catch on to it. That they either like, okay, well, we'll do a 1-for-1 remake of it. You hate it, well, okay, we'll do our own version of it where we kind of right the wrongs and make it more woke and make it more for a modern audience. You hate that too, okay. They don't understand that it's something in the middle. It's, you can remake stuff. We want the new movie to be a little bit different, to lean into live action stuff, but what you're supposed to be doing is becoming kind of an expert on what made the other movies so memorable and so great and so beloved by the fans, and then you make your version around that. They don't do that. They either try to appease their own ego or do the passive aggressive action of, let's make it 1-for-1. That way you can't complain, right? Ben Parker says, I wonder if anyone has tried to remote control an interactive video series out of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I don't know. I think they have, actually. I think they have a long time ago. I think I've seen one YouTube video where it's like at the end they have how the end at the end has like 2 recommendations. If you watch a YouTube video to the end, they'll say recommendation 1 is choose this path, and recommendation 2 is like, or you can choose this path. And I think I could have sworn I came across a series like that.
Everything exactly the same, and the director goes, no, it is, trust me, bro. Now, he does go on to say that our hope is that because flesh and blood human beings, there's an inherent difference with the embodiment of that in terms of the preservation of culture. No, I don't know either. I can only assume this is some kind of like movie bigotry, where it's like, just because it's in live action, it's objectively superior to animation. Anime has proven that wrong. The massive success of anime has proven that wrong. And also what the movie feels like when you see a 16-year-old who's in the middle of a storm or facing a lava monster. That's a very different feeling than when you're watching the animated version. Again, I don't think he's a very big fan of anime. To suggest you don't get attacked.
Also, I'm surprised they made Moana 16 instead of 17. Usually 17 is their golden number for some reason.
Actually, the characters is just wrong. But I can kind of see where he's going, where it should feel different, or maybe it's easier to feel more for a real person than it is for a cartoon character. The problem here, though, is it's almost like he thinks that's what's going to do the work. He's not talking about how he actually used this in his movie in order to add something deliberately. He's almost like he just assumed that, well, we've converted it from animation to live action, and so that will bring something. It's not anything he had to do. The improvement was just going to be an automatic upgrade because it's live action, and that's just not how it works. Again, going back to like the gender swap versions of Superman and Supergirl, I do 100% think you can have advantages of Supergirl over Superman, but you're going to have to play into the strengths of the gender. Like, you're going to have to be incredibly hot and skimpy and give the guy something to watch. If you don't do that, there's no point in doing it. So if you're not going to...
Everyone knows that if you're making a superhero story, it's going to have to be predominantly catered to men. Everyone knows this. They've been trying to change this perspective. They've been trying to change. It's like, women's media can be for women, but men's media has to be for everybody. And if you dare say that superhero comics are masculine, then, you're a bigot, you're wrong. But if you say that, this romance story is for women, no one bats an eye. No one bats an eye. Let's see. But let's see here, chat. By the way, we are still the same amount. We've got an hour. We're almost double the stream chat. Not $1 in super chats. Not one. I'm going to close the stream. I'm going to shut it down. We'll go 12 more minutes chat, and then we're shutting down the stream early. All right. No super chats. Come on. Not $1. Not $1. All right.
Use the live action to...
I get it. I understand. I get what you're throwing.
To bring something extra, then just thinking that putting The Rock in a wig is going to somehow improve on the animation that people already love. Yeah, that backfired on you.
Because The Rock's bald. The fact that The Rock is bald, so you just gotta have to put him in a wig and a bodysuit. At this point, do you even need The Rock? I know he did the voice for Maui, but do you even need The Rock at this point? He's a fake bodysuit and fake hair. Like, it's mostly just not The Rock at this point. Just get a young guy and CGI The Rock's face on him.
Did it, mate? Although at least choosing Dwayne because he's Maui means they put more thought into the casting process than Christopher Nolan. Do you read reviews? Journalism in 2026, folks. Do you read reviews of your work? I get the gist of things. Surprised he did an interview after that. Would have expected him to be in the corner of his house, hugging his knees, rocking backwards and forwards.
It's okay if they don't know.
No, I am talented, I am. I've been doing this a long time, and I think getting the sense of a conversation was enough for me. What sense of the reviews did you get? I need to know. Was it just drown me? Then after that, he just stops talking about him. I don't blame him, to be honest. It's like, I just want people to see the movie. I do know what the reviews are saying, though. What's your status on your Fiddler on the Roof adaptation? This is Hollywood. They're fiddling everywhere. In animation, everything on screen, however fantastical, is exactly as real as everything else. Live-action digital hybrids, though, well, the cracks are starting to show. Their castmates look like actors on brightly lit green screens.
I don't think directors should do this. I guess it's the director saying this stuff. I don't think directors should do this. I don't think directors should come out and address the criticism. This feeling, just let them say what they want. Like the only thing that nothing good is going to come in from the director addressing and correcting criticism. You know what the Chad move would be in this situation? This if the interview asks you like, "Oh, you're getting a lot of criticism for Moana live action remake. How do you respond to this?" And his response should be, "The fans will have their opinions. Let them have their opinions. They're completely entitled to their opinions. I have nothing to say on the issue." That would have been the Chad move to make, but instead it's like, okay, we're gonna have this entirely long interview about going over the merits of Moana and why you're wrong about Moana. No, actually, that stuff you saw with your eyes during the movie, none of that happened. You're all wrong. It's a Golden Reaper. This is $10 super chat. Thank you much, Golden Reaper. Appreciate it. Thank you much, Golden Reaper. It's your chat. Oh my God! It's a Golden Reaper says, here's 3.5. Well, thank you much, Golden Reaper. Appreciate it. Then Siege Perilous. Actually, the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Siege Perilous. Appreciate it. Let me get to the right clip here. Holy shit. Thank you very much, Siege Perilous. Welcome to the 10 new members of the Legion. Welcome. It's a Hamilton Burger. Thanks for the 33 months of support. This is like a super chat worth several pillarmen. Very much. Hamilton Burger, appreciate it very much. Thank you very, very much. Dai Karai, actually the exact $1. Thank you very much. Oh, Tree Fitty, that's what it was. Tree Fitty. Let's see your chat. Kletchy Oki, there's a $10 super chat. Thank you much, Kletchy Oki. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Where is it? Oh my God! And see. It always says, oh, fine. Is it still too late to request for Wonder Woman 2009 watch along? I don't think so. I mean, we could do that instead of Venture Brothers season 2. We could start season 2 next week. If we reach the goal of the week, we can go and watch Wonder Woman 2009 instead of Venture Brothers. It could totally be the case.
Stages, or backdrops resemble video game scenery. Attempts to bridge the gaps across these tiers of fakeness rarely go well. Moana's gormless rooster is now realistic and is thereby transformed from cute comic foil into scrawny monstrosity. What is the point of this? There is no good answer in aesthetic terms. There is no value added in any of this lifeless, half-hearted picture. If you're wearing a skirt and have a little animal companion, you're a princess. Surely that won't...
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all you need. If you have a little skirt, if you have big quirky eyes, and you have a little animal companion, boom, princess.
Be enough for even the most fervent member of the Disney princess tendency. Although it is probably a realistic option for a lot of people. All those going on TikTok and making videos about how they deserve the princess treatment. It's like, yes, congratulations. Here's your cat. Live action strips the visuals of its painterly charm. So little innovation, it ends up in the territory of a high-end tribute act. $250 million tribute act. It just walks along familiar attitudes like a dutiful tour guide. Lazy work that sullies...
It is really funny to see this constantly happen. It's like these great professionals in the industry doling out hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're losing to like first-time movie reviewers or first-time movie creators. This getting dominated in the box office on their own turf. It's pretty funny stuff.
The good name of content. Feels like a scam paying for the same film twice. But while audiences have been starved for content, is the situation really so dire?
Keep in mind that people are feeling scammed about paying for like to go see live action Moana. It's like, oh, I just feel scammed. I bought the same thing twice. Meanwhile, Bethesda is just repackaging and reselling Skyrim for the millionth time. And no one is complaining. They're mocking a little bit, but they're complaining. because Skyrim is good actually. So people kind of like that. People like rebuying stuff with new content, new. It's like a little tweak to it, something extra. They'll buy it again because it's like, okay, well, I'll have an extra copy. I'll have the upgrade version of this great thing. So they buy the great thing again. But Moana wasn't really all that great in the first place, and a live action version is just like a boring version of it. So, like, yeah, I feel scammed for buying like a worse version of the thing I already bought.
That will accept Dwayne Johnson repeating the exact same voice performance he gave a decade ago, except in this time in the flat, softly toned wig of someone in an 80s mall photo shoot. I've got to be honest, this whole live action.
It's a Zin the Cobalt says, Thanks 5 says Venture Brothers overrated. Give Johnny Quest some love instead. I mean, pretty fun to have like a new Johnny Quest movie or new Johnny Quest show, technically speaking. Of course, if they did that, it would be made today by weirdos and degenerates. So I don't know how, like, Johnny Quest is a blonde white guy. So I'm pretty sure he'd take a back seat to the girl or something. And he'd be an idiot. I think he'll get the Fred treatment from Velma. So that definitely would happen. But it was made by good people who just want to make a really good Johnny Quest, and they'd be pretty good. It might be pretty awesome.
Remake thing has always been weird to me, specifically because the properties they choose are the ones that you can't do in live action. Like, it always requires massive amounts of CGI to the point where it is basically just a couple of humans on a green screen for the entire movie. If you're going to do it, I think you should actually be using real sets. Stop using things which have talking animals in them. I mean, even in this picture, you have the rock, whatever log he's holding onto, and presumably this sail. Everything else is fake. There is more CGI in this picture than live action. Yeah, this Moana still looks largely animated. Supposedly, some scenes were shot in Hawaii.
Yeah, this is the live action version of this has people in it, but everything else is like CGI. Like their live action movies, quote unquote, are mostly CGI still. So it's crazy. Like, okay, here's a live action version. Okay, where's you have live actors, but everything else is still pretty animated. Anyway, chat. Where are we now? Okay, let's move on to the 7 deadly sins of world building, chat. Let's move on to this. Should be pretty interesting. The 7 deadly sins of world building. So what could they possibly be?
1,500 years ago, a Christian monk named Evagrius Ponticus began cataloging the spiritual failings that kept dragging people down to the hot place. Over time, those ideas evolved into what is now known as the 7 deadly sins. But what if world building had its own 7 deadly sins? What would they be? Well, today, I'm going to follow in the footsteps of that monk and catalog the 7 deadly sins of world building. These are mistakes I see over and over again, whether it be on YouTube, Reddit, fantasy novels, or television shows. Whether you're new to world building or an expert, some of these sins could be crippling your world without you even knowing it. So grab your maps, your magic systems, and your 20-page lore documents that nobody has actually read, because today we're diving into the 7 deadly sins of world building. But before we do, if you enjoy this video, please like it. It's the single biggest driver for the algorithm. Also, if you want to join our community, please consider our Discord or our Patreon in the description below, or consider being a channel member. That's everything. Let's jump into the video. As you'll probably notice, I'm trying to make each of these world-building sins line up with the original 7 deadly sins. And the first one is pride, otherwise known as the lore dump. Or, to put it another way, my world is so incredibly unique, so incredibly detailed, and so incredibly fascinating that you obviously need to hear every single thing about it. And look, we've all done this. I've done this, you've probably done it, even famous authors do it. Every world builder eventually reaches a point where they're convinced the...
It's a Kyle the Token Nerd. They said 10 pounds. Super chat says, okay, point taken. Hope this helps. Thank you very much, Kyle the Token Nerd. Appreciate it. Thank you for 10 pounds super chat. Let me see here. All right, here we go. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. And say, I bet one uwu isn't cringe. An entire uwu.
Audience desperately needs to know the complete history of the 3rd kingdom of insert fantasy name, the name of all 12 of their gods, or in my case 16, or the 7 ancient empires that came before the current one. The problem is people don't care. Not that they don't care, but they don't care about yours. Yet. See, lore doesn't get people hooked into worlds, or at least not really. I mean, you are watching a fantasy channel, so there's a really good chance that you love lore. But
Is it pretty good? Is it a pretty good point to point out? Because yeah, when you go into the community of sci-fi and fantasy writers, it's a whole different community than other writers out there. Because fantasy and sci-fi writers really like to build worlds. They like to build lore. They love it. In fact, they love it so much that sometimes they get lost. They get lost so deep in the lore they forget to write the story. Actually, they're building kingdoms and empires and histories and family trees and chronology of the entire world since it's in its birth. How the gods work, how the demons work, whatever, dragons or something. The history of the world. People love that. People love that. They love it, and they love building it. The sci-fi writers, fantasy writers, they love building it. But there is a limit, all right, to what you can do. And I always talk about this, the points allocated system with Brandon Sanderson. When you're writing a fantasy, when you're writing any story really, but when you're writing a fantasy, you have so many allotted points, like a Warhammer game, right? And his points represent audience interest. Okay, they represent audience interest in your book, in your story, and you only have so many to spend before they just close that book and walk away. And what you need to do is, what you need to keep in mind is that when you're writing fantasy and sci-fi, you do have more allocated points, because the part of the appeal as to why they picked that up in the first place is to hear how the world works. Like, what's this world kind of like? You have more allocated points, but you still have a limited number of those hypothetical points, those metaphorical points. You exhaust a lot of those points with an opening to your book that is basically just a history lesson. If your history lesson is like long and boring, they're gonna turn off like immediately. It has to be, even the history lesson has to be interesting if you're going to do one. Like Dark Souls did it pretty good, I think. Did it pretty well. Where the Dark Souls is about, setting up all the crazy nonsense of the world, like where it began. So it's kind of memorable. It gives you some good stuff. But if your whole opening of the world or opening of the story or game or whatever is in 1,000 years ago, the kingdom of blank was founded by this family. No one cares. No one cares. No one cares about that. We want the conflict. See, it's a hold on, chat. There we go. So we want conflict. So I think Dark Souls did it pretty well. So people will listen to the conflict or listen to your history if you have conflict in there. Check this out. So let's go over this real quick. The Dark Souls thing, I think it did pretty well. 1 second here. Like, check this out. This, if you have to do like a history or like, here's how we got here kind of thing before your story actually begins, then it should be like this, or Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings did a pretty good job because it didn't go over like, here's how the founding of Gondor went. It's about, a long time ago, there were like a bunch of rings and this evil lord kind of enslaved a bunch of kings and started a big war. That's pretty cool. I guess you can go over that and be interested just in the opening. And the reason why I say all this is because it's so tempting as a fantasy or sci-fi writer to get lost in the lore, that when you start your story, you kind of give everyone a history lesson instead of a conflict, right? It's just one of those things. It's one of the other dangers. Like one of the dangers of being a sci-fi and fantasy writer is that you get so lost in creating your lore that you don't make the story. But if you do make the story, you get so lost in explaining your lore that you give everyone a history lesson instead of a conflict. Check this out. Here we go. Let's see. Down says the greatest sin writers make is they think they need to stuff everything in their books instead of treating it like an engineer and removing everything unnecessary to function. Yeah, it's kind of what you get in those writing and rewriting. Where when you're writing things, when you're writing your first draft, you're probably going to put a lot of lore in there that doesn't really need to be there. And then on your second, third, maybe even fourth drafts, like, you know what? I can expand here. I can put this, later on here. It'll fit better here. Or I was like, you know what? I like explaining this part of the lore, but I got to cut it. Okay. Like I always say, I always mention Brandon Sanderson, after everything he's done, has a has a continuity editor whose entire job is to go, you know what, this can't be here because of this, and this. Like the continuity is off. And it's like, she's like, oh yeah, well, you wrote this incredible scene, but it didn't happen because of this, and this. So, you know, you can get lost. You can. It is part of the editorial process where you kind of bring all this up, you build all this stuff up, and you get lost in explaining your own lore that either something didn't happen or if you find it boring or whatever. Now check this out.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
It's a good setup there. Okay, we have establishing some key features here.
But
it's a good visual too.
Then,
look at this dragon who's everlasting, basically like in stone.
There was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat.
Already with the conflict. With fire came disparity. Oh, okay. Here's the conflict.
And cold. Life. And death. And of course.
You sure you do, Rag says Avatar: The Last Airbender starts every episode with cool fighting dudes. Throwing elements around, followed by a brief recap from basic history that everyone in the world knows. Exactly. It's fire, water. It has all four elements. And it shows the guys, performing the fighting techniques to perform these elements. And then we go into everyone lived in peace until the Fire Nation attack. Like it's a meme. People just remember that part. That's what people kind of recall. Everyone lived, and then they all lived in peace until the one day the Fire Nation attacked. Boom. Right to the conflict. And if you want to have the history of the world like as a prologue, that's cut you want to get to the conflict as soon as possible.
Light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito.
And you bring up all the players in the conflict here.
The first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten.
Yeah, so easily forgotten that he's not really in the game. I don't remember ever encountering the furtive pygmy.
With the strength of lords, they challenge the dragon.
See, and the conflict that grows from there, they kind of give you the initial conflict and they build on it. Like, here's what happened, and here's all the conflict between these guys.
Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were known.
There's some betrayal. Like he betrayed his own dragon, his own kind, and just helped annihilate the dragons.
Thus began the Age of Fire.
And that's how we got here. Right? It's a big, really cool arc of establishing the setting, the major players, and then using the conflict as the arc to get us to where we are today. That's how it should be done.
But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
And there we go, chat. The opening of Dark Souls. I think the opening of Dark Souls actually, even though I like Elden Ring better, I think the opening of Dark Souls is a much more practiced and polished opening. Let's check this out. We'll check it out anyway. Here we go. So here is the opening to Elden Ring. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of measuring inches between giants over here. But here's Elden Ring. We kind of begin pretty quickly with the conflict.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered.
See, it gets to the conflict pretty quickly. The great Elden Ring was shattered. We don't know what the Elden Ring is, but we know shattering is pretty bad usually. Not good. It's supposed to be making things, not breaking things.
In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden.
We have a vanishing goddess, a murder going on here.
Was
like a Caesar-esque murder.
First to perish.
Of course, the Brutus in this particular thing is, we'll learn that it is actually Ronnie the Witch.
Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering.
And we get a bunch of demigods, some powerful children who all kind of got their own shard of the Elden Ring, and then went to war with each other to be the successor to Marika.
A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment.
You know, I learned that only like 38% of players actually beat Melania. Like, wow, really? I've beaten her several times. I didn't know it was that rare.
By the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask, Fear, the deathbed companion, a loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Othmere, the all-knowing.
There we go, chat. Then you of course we get to the chosen tarnished. But anyway, Let's see. Let me solo her is like 50%. Because he always beats her. Yeah. See, Aparashiotis says, if suddenly a rich unknown relative dies and leaves me an inheritance, I will buy a view card and play Elden Ring. I mean, it's worth it. It is worth it if you like Souls games, because it's really good. I like Elden Ring quite a bit. Quite a bit. Anyway, chat. Anyway, back to this video, the 7 deadly sins of world building. Let's check it out, chat. Let's check it out. Let me pop it back up here. Awesome. And here we are.
But people aren't automatically invested. One of the
It's a thing on Yisha. Extra the $5 on Rumble. Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, Nisha says, with the big hold Hollywood has had, and the commies are creeping into it, it would take a long time to filter through it all without a more hands-on removal. Yeah, right. I think right now, because a lot of it has been kind of defunded, and even Netflix is moving more towards like faith and family-friendly television or content. We're going to just wait it out. We're going to wait out all the stuff that they were developing and let it all come in, I guess. But it is running out, I think. It is running out.
The biggest mistakes I see from new world builders is that they try to explain their world in the same order that they created it. Like they're giving you a rundown Avatar intro style. They started with the creation myth, so that's where the audience will start.
Is that what happens in the Avatar movie? I know what happens in The Last Airbender, but is that what happens in the Avatar? I haven't seen the Avatar movies by James Cameron. I haven't seen those. So it's like, is it bad? Is it that bad?
Then they made their pantheon, so now I have to teach you all of my gods. Then they made their 1,000-year history, so now we need a lecture on every dynasty. Blah, blah, blah. And by the time we've actually got to the story, half of the audience has mentally checked out. People don't become interested in a world because of information. They become interested in information because they're interested in the world. That's the huge difference. Think about some of the biggest
You're interested in the conflict. That's how you get there.
fantasy worlds ever created. When you first experienced The Lord of the Rings, for me at least, I watched the movie. You get a brief explanation of the rings, and that's about it, right into the story. Game of Thrones may be a better example. Like many people, I was introduced to A Song of Ice and Fire from the HBO show. Unlike Lord of the Rings, we don't even get an explanation. We just jump right into the plot. And finally, for my gamers, anyone who's played the Elder Scrolls, how does it start? Is it A, reading an Elder Scroll? B, a 2-hour lore dump? C, being racially accosted for the race that you chose? Or D, prison and thrusted into the plot? The answer is D, and shockingly C, but we're going to move past that. See, what the best worlds do is get the audience invested in the story. Then, once you're invested, they slowly reveal more and more of the setting. The audience earns the lore, and the lore earns its audience. This is why I call this sin pride. Because at its core, the lore dump comes from the belief that your world is so inherently fascinating that it doesn't need context, characters, mystery, or storytelling. The lore itself should be enough. But that's rarely true. So if you're world building, ask yourself a simple question. Does the audience need to know this right now? If the answer is no, save it for later.
See, there it is. It's kind of what happens in the rewriting. You put like, oh, I put a lore dump here, but I don't really need to have it here. I think it'd be better if it happens when this thing occurs. And then we can organically explain it because the audience will need to know this stuff to understand what's going on. Like, here's the we want to go. We have received a quest to go get this legendary sword. Why is it so important? Well, here's why it's important, because blah 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 blah, and they could do this because of that backstory.
Leave some mystery, trust your audience, and remember, people don't fall in love with a world because of its encyclopedia. They read the encyclopedia because they already fell in love with the world. Sin number 2. The second deadly sin of world building is greed. And unlike some of the others on
greed. All right, what's this then?
This list, this one has very little to do with the world itself. Instead, it has everything to do with the creator. Just like
Japanese. I think his rate is like origin Konami. He's nimble and quick, resistant to disease, can command simple creatures and improved endurance.
Just like the original sin of greed, this one is all about wanting a reward before you earned it. And nowhere is this more obvious than in online world building communities. Everyone has seen the guy out there trying to monetize his short story or offer paid world building lessons. Someone makes one map and they're immediately asking, how do I monetize this? Should I make a Patreon? How much should I charge for access to my lore? And look, there's nothing wrong with making money for your work. Good segue to plug my own Patreon again. Check it out in the description. I hope every creator watching this becomes wildly successful, but there's a huge difference between building something valuable and trying to cash in before you've built anything of value. One of the fastest ways to kill a project is to start treating it like a franchise before it's even a story. Now, this one sounds bad, but it's more...
I've seen this happen. I've seen this happen. It's kind of why I didn't like the Ripperverse anymore. It just became a franchise without being a franchise. It's become like about a business rather than the story.
Common than we like to admit. A lot of world builders love their worlds and think their ideas are gold. So, how do we identify if this truly is us? Are you working on a novel? Well, that's awesome, and I'm glad that you're putting in the hard work. But you're not looking for a publisher before you finish your first draft, are you? Have you designed merchandise?
Yeah, you should probably get like a good story out first. You should probably like, hammer it down and have something really good to sell first before you go looking for that publisher or whatever.
Oh, just one shirt? Well, I guess that's okay. You do have a fan base bigger than your friend group, though, right? Okay. Last test. Do you have a Patreon or something similar? Oh, you do, and it's free. It's free, right? The hard truth is that audiences don't owe us their attention. They don't owe us subscriptions. They don't owe us money. Those things are earned. And they're earned by consistently creating things that people enjoy. I've seen
I like this. He puts up this game. What was it? That one game with everyone liked it because it has a pretty lady at the beginning, like as the main character. What was it called? Was it called again? I forgot. But it was really controversial because the lady was pretty and everyone hated that. But they give people what they want. Is that what people want is offensive to the Western culture or whatever, to Western people who are in charge, and so they just get offended by the fact that other people have no issue giving the audience what they want, and that's offensive. Yeah, Stellar Blade. That's it. Stellar Blade. That's it. Yeah, Stellar Blade gave men what they wanted, and boom, it's successful. It's a sequel now. All they had to do was that. All they had to do was not try to discount men or disinvite men, which I've seen before, and try to brush off men's concerns as nothing. All they had to do was include men and cater to men a little bit, and boom, you have a lot more money. You have a lot more money.
Most world builders spend more time planning how they're going to monetize their setting than they actually spend developing it. The one thing that might actually attract the audience in the first place. The irony is that creators who become successful are usually the ones focused on making something good. The audience has to come first, and the money has to come later. So if pride asks you, do you want to hear all of my lore? Greed asks, well, how am I going to get paid for it? And that's not necessarily a bad question, it's just the wrong first question. The first question should always be, how do I make something people actually care about? Because if you get that part right, the rest gets a lot easier. All right, sin number 3. The third deadly sin of world building is wrath.
Wrath? Okay. This could be interesting. Is this something like someone critiques your work and so you have to respond and you have to like, oh, actually, you got this wrong. Did you even read the book? I'm sorry I didn't make it so clear to you. You're too dumb to read. Is like that? Like that? Is that wrath? You're obviously too stupid to read my books and understand it. So it's your fault, and your critique is invalid. Is that what it's going to be? I hope it is. It'd be pretty funny.
Or, as I like to call it, edgelord's disease.
Oh, edgelord's disease. What's that?
Now, just like the other sins on this list, this one lines up pretty well with its real-world counterpart. Because wrath is all about anger, aggression, violence, and destruction, and that's exactly what happens when some world builders become obsessed with making their setting darker than everyone else's. You know the type. You tell someone a setting is dark, and they immediately respond with, "That's nothing. My world's darker. You think this is..."
Oh, is this like I got to top you because my world is way darker. This is some neckbeard stuff. Shea Durag says, this mimics advice I give aspiring DMs, which is that info dumps don't work unless the player specifically asks for that information. Yeah. You don't really want to give like just dump them with info. I mean, that's kind of a meme, I think, now in the D&D world where it's like, oh, here we go. Another DM's info dump. He brought his binder today, guys. I played the Tales of the Yawning Portal Tavern, I think what they're called, and you get some lore, but you really have to kind of find it. Like the lore is there to find, but you have to find it. Like no one's really going to give you like a ton of lore before it happens. I remember we went to the Sunless Citadel, and you don't really get the lore right away. You don't get a lore dump. You kind of like, okay, this thing exists. It has treasure in it. Go after it. And then you go through it, and you kind of you can kind of pick up the lore as you go along. It doesn't really blatantly tell you, not necessarily, but the way it's set up, you can kind of like suss things out and make connections. And like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. Like, why is this tree like give golden apples every single time you kind of like dump blood into it? What the hell? Give this every information and then wait for them to seek out the rest. Exactly. Like here's the information you need to get started. And if you want to know more, you can. It's kind of why I like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, because they give you enough to get started, and then if you want to know more, you can pay you pay attention, you can pick things up.
Bad. In my setting, it's even worse. Warhammer 40k, Child's Play. Berserk, not dark enough. Game of Thrones, basically it's
okay. If you're going darker than Berserk, I think you might be going too dark. And also, you have to remember that if you are making like a Berserk level dark story, you have to have some levity in there. You can't just the darker does not mean it's better. Okay, even Berserk has Puck. You have to have some levity in there, or else you'll run into too dark, don't care. It's definitely a thing that happens. Like if nothing good happens, everything is just about dark, dark moments and betrayal, and everything sucks. No one really wants to read 500 pages of that or a series of that. All right. The reason why Berserk works so well is because there's some good parts of it too. Like you have like the girl gets saved in the end. There's some horrible things happen. Her father turns to a demon, but the Slug Baron's daughter gets saved. Like her innocence is preserved. Puck is there to give you some levity. He might run into some issues, but like he's there to make you laugh a little bit while you slug through all that evil. And then it all helps set up the Golden Age arc, which is just pristine, wonderful storytelling, absolutely fantastic. Like just a rarity, a diamond in the rough is that whole thing with the Golden Age arc of Berserk. Fantastic, absolute creme de la creme.
Children's cartoon compared to my world. For those creators, dark.
See, this would be funny, right?
Okay, Child's Play. Berserk, not dark enough. Game of Thrones.
Can you imagine Game of Thrones in like Candyland or something, where it's like she gets her throat slit. Is this rainbow?
Basically,
like this nerdy pig comes up, slits her throat. This is rainbow blood.
Children's cartoon compared to my world. For those creators, darkness stops being a storytelling tool and becomes a competition or a flex. Their stories get pushed past grim.
Like with the Killing Joke, it's considered really, really dark, but like Batman wins in the end. Like the Commissioner Gordon turns out okay. Like he's psychologically damaged, but he's okay. Barbara Gordon gets crippled, but she's not killed, and she becomes Oracle. It's an extreme act, but it really helps sell the story. So in the end, it might be dark, but at the end, Batman still wins. The Joker still loses, and that's kind of where we want to end up at the end with. That the bad guys don't have to win just because it's a dark, cruel story.
Dark into borderline snuff. The premise is all torture and raping, not actual grapes. You know what I mean by that. This one is the
Bill Cosby
most unsettling because it can get kind of weird, especially if they cross the line that we kind of all agree not to cross.
It's the Carter Ketchell, thanks for the $2 super chat, or Rumble, says, great game, action, combat, and attractive characters, a lot like Dark Souls, but vibrant and colorful instead of bleak and dreary. Yeah, I heard the gaming, the way the game is constructed is like Dark Souls. You have to you die, you come back, the enemies come back, things like that.
You know which line I'm talking about. I don't want to expand any further on that. Anyway, there is a lot of other problems with the darker is better mindset. The first is all of that darkness.
Darker is not better. It's kind of why I do still really like the Adam West Batman. It's a really good show, actually. It's the reason why it was so good and everyone loved it. So much that it withstood cancellation attempts, but it was really good. I really liked the Batman Adam West Batman, and it answered a lot of questions. Right? It's like, why is Batman able to arrest bad guys? Like, why shouldn't they just let him go? Because they're arrested by a vigilante? No. You know why? Because Batman is a deputized officer of the law. in Adam West Batman. Why is it? How come like all these criminals keep escaping? They don't. And Adam West Batman, that question is answered. You know why the criminals are always out on the streets? Because of progressive liberal policies. That's specifically what they say. If you go back and watch the show, it's the episode where we first see the Penguin, I think. And the reason why the Penguin is the Penguin is on camera plotting his next heist, his next crime while in jail. And Robin is like the reasonable one saying, hey, why are we going to let this guy out if he's plotting to commit more crimes? And then they go, Robin, how dare you? He already served his sentencing in jail. He should be let out. And like, oh geez, I'm sorry, Batman. And like everyone just chastises Robin for that, but like, hello, it's called the RICO statute. You're not allowed to conspire to commit a crime. There's a whole statute about conspiracy, although maybe it wasn't created back then. But yeah, it's not necessarily legal to like go in there and plot to commit crimes or be part of it. But yeah, the reason why the Penguin is not only let out pretty early, but allowed to also wear his costume in the prison cell and also be in the cell with his own henchmen is because of progressive liberal policies. And at the end, it's like the guy goes, oh, I can't believe my progressive liberal policies have failed. Like, it's pretty funny. But the thing is, on the baseline, it answers all these, the goofy Batman's, this little goofy Batman show answers all these questions that the super serious dark Batman does not, and is dumb. Because all these edgelords, right? All these edgelords and stuff like that who want to bring down Batman to, oh, it must be super dark and serious. Like, okay, how come everyone just keeps escaping every day? Why do the villains keep escaping? Apparently, everyone's an idiot. It makes way more sense to have like the Adam West Batman's answer to this, which is it's just blatant corruption in the system and bleeding heart liberals letting out all the crime, letting out all the criminals after like 30 days in jail or whatever. Because that's literally has to be how long these villains are in jail, like 30 days for committing like horrendous crimes because of progressive liberal policies. That's what happens. Okay. And the reason why how come this dark, super serious Batman show or cartoon or whatever, like the Cape Crusader or something like that, or the series, oh, it's super dark and realistic, bro. Yeah, it's super edgy. He beat up the Joker and sent him to jail again. Okay, how come the Joker's still in jail? Because, all right, why? It's just why? Shouldn't Batman be a deputized officer of the law somehow? Like, I don't know how that would work because he's a costume vigilante, but it makes more sense than the police officers just prosecuting guys who are just brought in by a vigilante. It makes a lot more sense. So don't discount Adam West Batman. Adam West Batman is pretty awesome for a myriad of reasons. Including the original edition of Mr. Freeze's speech, the warm hand to hold, like that speech. That was given by a goofy version of Mr. Freeze before they made it into a serious speech. I would say that if you find a Batman fan that dismisses Adam West Batman, they're in love with only half the equation. All right,
kind of loses its punch. Think about it this way: if you're reading a story and something terrible happens, it hits hard because it stands out and it's unexpected. But if literally everyone is getting tortured, murdered, betrayed, sacrificed, cursed, and eaten by monsters on every other page, eventually you're
what the hell is this? Who made a like Breaking Bad version of Chainsaw Man?
going to stop reacting to it. At that point, the audience doesn't get shocked anymore because they know something horrible is going to happen next. Ironically, the people trying the hardest to make their worlds disturbing often end up making them less disturbing. The second problem is these worlds often stop making sense. You'll see settings where every kingdom collapses and every road is filled with bandits, every village gets raided every month, every ruler is insane, every harvest fails, and monsters are constantly eating people. And then somehow there's still functional civilizations. Everybody lives in a thriving city, paying taxes. At a certain point, you kind of have to ask how society has survived longer than 6 months. A lot of these worlds feel a lot less like places people actually live and more like theme parks designed entirely around suffering. And finally, I think this is also where a lot of people misunderstand dark fantasy in general. People don't love things like Berserk and Game of Thrones because bad things happen. If that was all it took, anybody could write a masterpiece by spending 5 minutes inventing increasingly horrible crimes. The reason people like these stories is because they're good stories. They have memorable characters and worlds that people actually care about. Bad things happening isn't a substitute for story.
It's such an edgelord. What? Okay, chat. What's better? What's better, this or Joker's forehead tattoo that says damaged? What's better, chat? A forehead tattoo that says kill or a forehead tattoo that says damaged? And see, normal man, they should send $1 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'd say, Lib Judge, I know you committed countless crimes against humanity, Joker, but you deserve another chance. I sentenced you to 30 hours community. Yeah, that has to be the case, right? Like 30 hours of community service, or he just escapes. I mean, how is that a better explanation? Either he gets lenient. I think it's a better explanation. He gets lenient sentencing as opposed to he just escapes every week, right? Because I know sometimes it might be a wackadoo escape plan. Like even in Adam West Batman, Joker was able to escape by using like a spring or something like that to get over the walls of Arkham. But really, how many times can he come up with new stuff? Like it's like, okay, well, now we know to check for springs. Now we know to check for rocket fuel and the Christmas tree or something. Like really, only one escape plan can work really once. So it makes more sense that, okay, maybe he does escape sometimes, but it makes more sense that he really is just let go at system. He has like this dream team of lawyers or whatever that is kind of like, oh well, you're your honor, my client. He has Saul Goodman as his lawyer. Your honor, my client was brought in by a big bat and he's kind of crazy, so you should let him go on the street. And that's kind of how it goes. Like that would make way more sense than he just escapes every week. I think the whole Adam West Batman answer to the equation. But anyway, chat, like what's better, the kill tattoo or like a damage tattoo? Shady Wish Fallout 4. I started playing Fallout 4. I found it boring. I don't know exactly what happens in it, but I assume it's not good because people are coming back to it with very negative things to say about it.
For storytelling, and that's the mistake a lot of world builders with edgelord's disease end up making. Sin number 4. The fourth deadly sin of world.
All right, what's this one? Envy? Resentment caused when someone lacks another's quality? All right.
Building is envy, or as I like to call it, cloning. Now, this is a pretty straightforward issue. Instead of coming up with a new and creative idea, you just copy something you really like.
Okay. Well, this makes sense. This does happen. First of all, this does happen. Second of all, it's fine that this happens in the beginning of your writing career. It's almost inevitable. Like, this is kind of your first step into writing is that you will copy somebody else. But know that this is not really ready for being sold or anything. Like if you're copying somebody, blatantly copying somebody or something, or a story that you like, this is practice. Right, this is why I say write fan fiction to practice, because at least this is not yours. Okay, you're probably not going to try to sell this. Probably. Rare occasions like the whole Harry Potter thing, Alchemized. That was a Harry Potter fan fiction that was basically just a Voldemort one combined with Headmaid's Tale. So normally, though, you wouldn't sell your fiction. You wouldn't sell it, your fan fiction normally, but it is a really good training ground to write. And so when you write fan fiction, you train, you work through your issues, you kind of get feedback. This is another big thing that fan fiction writers tend not to like is feedback, negative feedback. But if you take the negative feedback and you grow, it definitely will help your skills. But when you're writing your own work and it's just a blatant clone or copy, and then you try to sell that as your own, you're probably going to get some negative feedback, right? This is just a copy, it's a clone, right? You're not ready to sell it yet if you're still cloning other works. Now you can attribute them, you can kind of take inspiration from other works, but when it's just like a blatant one-for-one clone, just a little bit different with a different paint job on it, it's not ready. All right, it's not ready. Like I opened up Dead Man's Lullaby with a clear tribute to Crank, and the plot is a clear parallel to Crank, but then it goes into a completely different direction. It still has the extremity of Crank, but it starts to step off the road of Crank after the initial scene. Because I really, really like Crank. I like Crank 1 and 2. They're both awesome. And it's a really good conflict. You wake up poisoned and you're dying. That's a pretty good conflict. Let's see. Normal Man 5. That's your says the real reason Batman's villains steal from banks is to pay for the lawyers they have to. There's a new. They did new animated movies before Adam West died, I think, of Batman, the Adam West Batman. I think it's called The Return of the Cape Crusader and like Batman versus Two-Face or something with William Shatner playing Two-Face. And there's at one point, I think either it's the cartoon movie or the show where someone has captured Batman. I think it's Two-Faced. And he's like, okay, here's an auction. I'm gonna invite all these villains to come in and buy Batman at an auction, and they're all like betting, they're all waging millions of dollars. So yeah, these villains are not poor. They're just they're out there for the villainy. And in Adam West Batman, that is specifically what they're out there for. Like Penguin will say, I think Penguin was like, "Oh yes, I will dedicate all law and order to evil." They are acolytes of evil, right? They're not out there for money or to even to prove a point to Batman. They're just out to do evil, and that's kind of the reasoning and motivation behind pretty much every villain in the Adam West Batman, is that they're just evil, but they're really happy about it. And saying, but yeah, just I'm pretty sure some of that money they get goes to the lawyers they need to get out of jail over and over again. Insane. Shay Durex says Fallout 4 is action oriented and has awful lore and writing. It's a fun game for casuals if you want a good RPG experience. New Vegas is the way to go. See, people keep saying that I need to play New Vegas. I have New Vegas, but I need to play New Vegas. So yeah, I heard New Vegas is really awesome. I have Fallout 4 too, but the opening was kind of cool, but I didn't really like it that much afterwards. And yeah, this Fallout really shouldn't be like an action game. It should be more centered on the RPG elements. I really enjoyed Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was really cool to me. Kyle, the Vampire God, thanks for the $5 super chat, says we're doing the 7 deadly sins. I'm making a Power Rangers team based on 7 deadly sins. I can't come up with anything for gluttony though. I mean, he could get more powerful the more he eats, right? But the more powerful he gets, he can't control it, like the Hulk, but food based. You could do that. Let's see. Thank you much, Kyle Rocket. Appreciate it. Very, very cool. Let me get you one of these. Yes. All right, let's go.
Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by other worlds. Every fantasy setting ever created was inspired by something. Usually it's history, mythology, religion, or some other fantasy work. That's completely normal. The problem is when inspiration turns into derivative works. Brandon Sanderson talked about this on his podcast, and I completely agree with his sentiment. When he writes something and it's similar to something else, he asks 2 important questions.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson is pretty good on writing. My favorite, of course, is Neil Gaiman. Really, really like this wise man on writing. Absolute fantastic guy to listen to on writing, Neil Gaiman. But Sanderson is also really good. Only from Sanderson can you get the whole idea of you only have so many allocated points to hook your audience with. Like you only have so many points. Be wary of that before your audience walks away. So that's a really good, really helpful piece of advice. Probably one of the best he's ever done.
How common is this, and how big is the world that it's from? For instance, something like dragon riding nowadays gets linked with A Song of Ice and Fire. But the idea is so common throughout fantasy that
having your pet dragon is awesome. Like it just goes all the way, it goes so way back. I remember Pete's Magical Dragon or whatever. Was that what it's called? Pete's Magical Dragon? I used to watch the movie a lot. Pete's Dragon. Yeah, it's called Pete's Dragon, like the original Pete's Dragon from 1977, I think. I remember watching that one in my roster as a kid. It was a good movie. I like that one. But yeah, having like your pet dragon, that's awesome. That's like a definite cornerstone fantasy. Is to have your own magical dragon.
Having dragon riding be a core feature of your world isn't an issue. But if you have a system where mages ingest metal to get magic power, that's going to instantly be linked with allomancy from the Cosmere. Asking yourself those two questions will more or less help you stay away from the pits of this sin. Another place you have to be careful with envy is with maps. I see this all the time on Reddit. Yes, I'm a casual Redditor. Somebody will post a map, and it's
Oh, well, that's enough for a day.
basically Europe rotated 20 degrees, Westeros flipped upside down, or Middle-earth with a few extra islands. As soon as somebody notices, that's all that gets spammed in the comments. The only feedback you can get anymore is, it kind of looks like Tamriel, buddy. That's the real issue with envy.
Well, you should do what Piers Anthony did and just model your fantasy world after Florida. Just do that. I think perfect.
You lose all of the focus. Nobody is talking about the world you created, just the one that you copied. It pulls people out of your setting and drops them into somebody else's. I can't be immersed in your world of semi-Middle-earth anymore because all I see is Middle-earth. Your world will stop feeling like its own place and feel a bit more like fan fiction of an established IP. Caveat to the whole conversation, though, just because someone pointed out something in your world is similar to something else, that doesn't ruin it. We've all met that one loser. The like in 40K? Yeah, that guy. My bad. My evil god's name is Malachar. That's too close to Malekith or Mehrunes Dagon or Moloch or Mordekaiser or Malkador and that other one character that also happens to be named Malachar. I guess I'll find a name that is so original that it's ungoogleable. Don't let those guys keep your world building down.
Hey, who cares? I mean, how many times has the Japanese used Alucard? Just keep doing it.
Inspiration, borrow ideas, study history, learn from your favorite settings. Just don't mistake copying for creativity.
Oh, by the way, chat, this hasn't really come clear yet because I haven't really done the second part of Dead Man's Alibi yet, but the main city in the world of Dr. Alpha is based off Miami instead of New York. This is very heavily inspired by Hotline Miami, of course.
Fifth deadly sin of world building is lust, or as it's more commonly known, the rule of cool. Now, unlike some of the other sins on this list, this one is actually pretty understandable.
Okay. The rule of cool, very cool. The rule of cool is very important. But you don't want to like take over where it kind of interferes with the story or the lore or the continuity too much. It shouldn't do it at all. But you can do it a little bit, but you shouldn't allow it to do it too much. So the thing is, a rule of cool is pretty important still.
Because who doesn't like cool things? Dragons, magic swords, floating castles are all cool, I'll admit it. But when that's cool becomes the only reason something exists, you inevitably create holes and shallow zones in your world. As a world builder, you have to remember that nothing exists in a vacuum. Like our real world, nearly everything is impactful to some degree. This is especially true when it comes to powerful artifacts or gods that meddle in the affairs of mortals. These are generally things that can exist without repercussions. The sin of lust makes perfect sense here. When it comes to the original 7 sins, lust is defined as a sinful craving that begins in the heart and can manifest in destructive behaviors. And the parallel to the rule of cool is obvious. Craving all of these cool ideas without regard as to where they actually fit will slowly destroy the logic of your world. The good news is that this is probably the easiest sin on the entire list to fix, because the solution isn't to stop adding cool things. Fantasy has always been built on cool ideas. The solution is simply making sure those...
Let's see. Dak Cry says, Linkatu says, play New Vegas one day. I think I will. I do have it. I think I even have it installed. Then seeing Call of Duty says, every part of Asia has a version of Sun Wukong. Yeah, because that guy is a cornerstone character. Absolute cornerstone character in Western culture. Absolutely. There's so many anime characters built off of Sun Wukong. There's a lot of them. A lot of shonen characters, apparently. Like just specifically, I mean. A lot of them. There's a ton of them. Anyway, chat, thank you very much. Appreciate everyone.
Nice.
All right, here we go. Speaking of Bayonetta, remember the whole like conga line of feminism with Bayonetta? Like just because we talked about Stellar Blade earlier, and it's kind of happening with Stellar Blade 2 or Stellar Blade as well. But thing is, what was it? Yeah, so we had like the whole thing where it's this is for creepers and horny men. Like this, they're talking about like Bayonetta, right? And then something else comes out. Another female character comes out and like, this is goon slop. Why can't it be more like Bayonetta, which is now a feminist icon? Like they always complain about a new female character coming out because she's pretty. Like if they come out with a new pretty female character, suddenly it's goon slop, it's for men, because for some reason a character that appeals to men is just inherently bad, I guess. But then years go by, and then there's a new female character that's pretty, and suddenly that one is bad, and the old one is actually the ideal to go with. Oh, that why couldn't it be more like Bayonetta, the feminist icon? You know, it happens quite a bit. Soon we'll get a new female character that's not from Stellar Blade, and suddenly it'll be that one is bad, and Stellar Blade is the good one, the feminist one. That cry says they says next played in another way, then again and again. Is there like more than one ending to New Vegas? Then stream New Vegas. Oh yeah, that's right. Even Ruby has Sun Wukong. That what's it called? The monkey faunus. The monkey faunus, who should have been the canonical love interest to Blake, but they kind of got rid of him so that they can make Blake a lesbian. Unfortunately, let's see. Avo says, "LD, have you seen the video? Dracul was a Christian hero." No, but he technically was, like the historical guy. Technically was. He was a hero who saved his country from the Muslims, because they're always out there conquering. That's how France was made. There was like a Muslim invasion, and then Martel came in and defended France and became king from the Muslim invasion. And see, of course, literally it was just like a scouting army, which is why they were able to win. And the only reason why the Muslims did not conquer Europe is because back home there was like a civil war or another Muslim country attacking another Muslim country or something like that. It was something that happened that prevented them from launching a full-scale attack. But yeah, the same reason why Dracula was a kind of a Christian hero, because he was a Christian who fought Muslims and saved his country from conquest. That's what happened. So of course they demonized him. He's okay to demonize.
Cool ideas have depth. For example, a dragon isn't just a dragon. A dragon changes the world around it. Think about how much someone's daily life would change with the addition of dragons. Depending on the dragon and the person, it could be a little or a lot. And it's on you as a world builder to answer that question. The same logic applies to magical artifacts, powerful wizards, ancient gods, and anything else capable of dramatically affecting the setting. Look at any strong fantasy world. Every major element feels connected to everything else. Nothing exists simply because the author thought it looked cool. It exists because the world has adapted to it. Ironically, doing this usually makes the cool idea even cooler. A floating city is interesting, but a floating city that has thought about how trade and logistics work is even cooler. Maybe the traders had to tame sky.
Because really why the details exist is to make stories. Like it works this way in D&D exactly. Right? So why do we need to know about how the merchant guilds work in the city, in the royal city? Oh, because the quest revolves around this specific section of how the merchant guilds work, and if this specific section is hindered or in some way destroyed, then the entire trade network will be in jeopardy. So this is kind of why we need to know it now, right? So go defend it. Right, the orcs are trying to raid like the storehouse, that kind of the warehouse for Fantasy Amazon, and we need to stop them, or else the trade won't be as effective anymore, as that sort of thing. So we kind of need to know details because there's a quest involving these details.
Whales to transport goods. Or maybe more grounded, the city has some kind of pulley or elevator system that could be blockaded. Maybe this could even be
what the hell happened here?
Had to tame sky whales to transport goods. Or maybe more.
And everyone missed the elevator and got launched into their That was pretty funny. They're just horde anyway,
Grounded, the city has some
absolutely worthless. At least there's horde dying and not the lions dying.
Some kind of pulley or elevator system.
Was it like a glitch in the system, or like some dick that just launched everyone to their
that could be blockaded. Maybe this could even be a plot point in your story later on. Once you fully flesh out a concept, it's way cooler and ultimately way deeper, and in turn doesn't unimmerse the audience from your story. That's ultimately the difference between good world building and the rule of cool taken too far. One uses cool ideas as building blocks, and the other uses them as decorations. And while decorations can make a world look impressive at first glance, they're usually the first thing that people notice when they start looking closer. The sixth deadly sin of world building is gluttony. And the essence of gluttony is overindulgence and overconsumption to the point of waste or harm. The most obvious mirror in world building is the world builder's disease. In essence, the world builder's disease and the sixth sin is the uncontrollable urge to keep building parts of your world regardless of whether they actually matter. Most world builders have fallen into this trap at least once. You start out by trying to create a setting for a novel, a campaign, or whatever project you're working on at the time. Then, somewhere along the way, the project quietly stops being the focus and the world itself shifts to the forefront. Instead of working on your story, you're creating another kingdom. Instead of writing the next chapter, you're fleshing out a culture that will never appear on the page. The dangerous part is that this feels productive. You're still working on your project, so it doesn't feel like procrastination. You're still researching, taking notes, drawing maps, creating timelines, and adding more and more detail. The problem is that a lot of that detail never actually gets used. I've seen people.
I remember this in the Lego movie where this guy's just obsessed with Legos. Like, no, son, you can't play with my Legos. It's for adults only.
But with hundreds of pages of lore, dozens of nations, thousands of years of history, and entire binders dedicated to their setting, who still haven't produced the thing that the world was originally built for. The sixth sin of world building is easily the most dangerous because it turns your own productivity against you. It's like swimming against the riptide only to look back at the shore and see yourself further away. In contemporary language, a Sisyphean task refers to any work that requires continuous effort but yields little or no lasting progress. Sisyphean as in Sisyphus, the guy who pushes the boulder up the cliff.
Let's see. DVD says a short description. Nobody cares. Lore doesn't. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter exactly. So your canon setting story, setting history, languages, etc. You're not J.R.R. Tolkien. Even J.R.R. Tolkien only made us care about his languages and everything because of the story that he presented. So we really only care about the lore and legacy of the people in his world and the history of it because we had a really cool story to attach it to.
Cliff. Anyway, I can't think of a better term than that to describe the sixth sin. Remember, some of the best fantasy worlds ever created are surprisingly restrained. They focus on the areas that matter, they leave room for mystery, and spend most of their time developing the pieces that already support the story being told. By contrast, World Builder's disease convinces people that every corner of the map needs a history. The reality is that most audiences don't care how much work went into your world. They care whether the world feels interesting while they're experiencing it. 100 pages of background information that never comes up is still 100 pages of background information that never comes up. At the end of the day, world building is supposed to support a project. Once that project starts existing to support world building, you've wandered into gluttony. The seventh sin and the final deadly sin of world building is sloth. Now, when most people hear the word
sloth, you say? Let's see. Shay Durag says the world builder disease is fine as long as it doesn't take away from important parts of the story. Exactly. As long as you don't try to force it on your players, it's because you worked hard on it. Exactly. So it's kind of what that's the whole trap that a lot of DMs kind of step into. And I've heard a lot of horror stories that involve this. Probably the worst form of this is when the DM just has so much lore and has such a vision for the world and the story that the players take a back seat. And essentially, the players are there to witness the DM's personal novel instead of actually playing through a D&D campaign.
Sloth, they think of laziness. Somebody sitting around doing nothing. But when it comes to world building, that's not really what we're talking about. In world building, sloth usually takes a different form. It's the creator who never finishes anything.
I'll let you referencing D&D because that happens with DMs too. There's like an old issue where the DMs like they so love to lore dump, they so love it that they're essentially just telling the story to the players instead of letting the players experience the story and make decisions. It's like no. And it's even worse that they have a DM NPC at the forefront. Like, check out my cool DM NPC. It's pretty awesome, right? It's pretty cool. And then he's the one doing all the stuff. He's the one doing all the quests, leading the party. And soon enough, it's just the players just become the audience to the DM's personal novel.
In reality, a lot of world builders suffering from this sin are constantly working. They're always writing notes, drawing maps, coming up with new ideas, and talking about future projects. The problem is that none of those projects ever seem to go anywhere. They start writing a novel and get a few chapters in before they decide they've had a better idea. Then they start that novel. A few months later, they decide they have a new setting that they want to explore, a new magic system, or a new campaign, and eventually a new world entirely. Before long, they've accumulated a graveyard of half-finished projects and abandoned settings. A lot of the time, this happens because creating something new is exciting. Every new idea feels fresh and full of potential. The flaws haven't really revealed themselves yet, the difficult decisions haven't appeared yet, and everything still exists in that perfect stage where it could become anything. Actually, finishing the project means moving beyond that stage. It means committing to an idea and working long enough through its problems. It means accepting that not every chapter is going to be exciting to write. Not every campaign session is going to go perfectly, and not every piece of world building is going to feel as exciting as the day you first thought of it. The reality is the most successful creators are not the ones with the most ideas. They're the people who eventually picked an idea and stuck with it. Every finished novel, campaign, game, or setting has thousands of ideas that were never pursued sitting behind it. The creator just simply chose one path and kept walking. That's why I think sloth is such a fitting final sin. A world builder can survive bad lore, a messy map, or a weak magic system. What no project can survive is being abandoned every time a newer, shinier idea comes along. And those are what I would consider to be the 7 deadly sins of world building. Now, just like the original 7 deadly sins, none of these are things that automatically ruin a project. In fact, most world builders are guilty of every single one of them at some point. I know I certainly have been. A little pride can make you passionate about your world. A little lust can lead you to something genuinely cool. Even gluttony has probably resulted in some incredible setting over the years. The problem isn't the occasional mistake.
I was like, what is that song? It's the Gorillas. I think it's what called Plastic World. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's Gorillas. That's one of my favorite songs by the Gorillas. Like I know that song. And say, Plastic Beach. I think that's what it's called. Plastic Beach. CD Rex is ATLA has a lot of background world building that makes the show better because they're only focused on it when relevant. The show never delves deep into them. Yeah, you only get like a glimpse of what's needed, and then you get interested, and then you kind of like, I want to know more about this. But yeah, you only get a glimpse of like you kind of feel like you're walking through a living world, a living, breathing world that has history. And because we don't need a history lesson on every aspect of the world, and we don't get one, it's like, oh well, this feels like it's, we get a little bit of history here, a little bit of insight here, but we don't really need someone to tell us like the main characters are not part of the world at all. It's just kind of a known thing. And also people go to research the lore and are astonished that so much detail exists off screen. Yeah, they do a lot. And it's kind of what happens when you are a fantasy or sci-fi where you tend to do a lot of it, but very little of it actually makes it to the story. And unless you do like an entire series, you're probably not going to get too much of it. You're going to get the proper glimpse, but the glimpse that's there needs to feel real, and it feels real when it's part of a larger system, and you can clearly see that's part of a larger system.
The problem is when one of these habits starts taking over your world building. At the end of the day, world building is supposed to serve a purpose. Whether you're writing a novel, running a campaign, developing a game, or simply because the setting is fun, the goal is to create something people can engage with and enjoy. I'm sure there are plenty of other sins that could have made it to this list. And if you spend enough time in world building communities, you probably encountered a few that I didn't mention. So let me know which sin you think is the most common, and if you think there's one I completely missed, throw it.
All right, there we go, chat. There we go. We almost made it to Pillarman, chat. Thank you very much, everyone. We almost made it to Pillarman. Almost there. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, we're just $9 away. But we will switch over to stream memes now. Stream memes. And let's see. All right. Actually, let's choose this. One Piece also has a lot of background lore as well. It has to. The One Piece needs a bunch of background lore. I also kind of feel a little empty. But thank you much, Alex Halo. All right. Now we are just $7 away. $7 away from Pillarman, chat. $7 away. There we go. Should we go to stream memes now, chat, or should we can continue here? Because I think this one is kind of interesting. And get rid of these. Get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. This is kind of interesting. Look, this is a short video that's only 3 minutes long. And if we reach Pillarman by the end of this video, it will continue with a video called the guy who just watched another video that looked interesting, which is something wrong with your fantasy race. So if we reach Pillarman by the end of this video, we'll continue the stream and cover that video as well. So check it out, chat. So right now, here's a new trash taste situation is blown up. It's all blowing up. It's always blowing up over there on the anime side. Check it out.
About this clip.
I know that's Joey the anime man. So we'll check it out.
From Trash Taste, captioned, Dog VA hits the nail on the head of why people are so scared to like problematic media. 41-second long clip. Let's play this and take a look. Then we'll discuss.
Modern young people and audiences, well, older people too, have been like, they're like not brainwashed, but like fucking coached into like seeing things that are problematic and thinking like, what is this?
Yeah, they have been coached into they've people complain about us because, oh yeah, we're reporting out bad media, like this thing sucks or that thing sucks, right? They complain about us doing that. But what about people, like the people complaining about that are just like, oh, look at this is offensive, that's offensive, this is offensive, that's offensive. Like they're treating people in an even worse way, because at least we're just going over the, hey, this is bad media, this is woke or whatever. But they're over here saying you can't enjoy a story. You need to be looking at media from the perspective of how offensive it is. Which is awful. It just ruins art. That perspective ruins art more than any chastisements of wokeness has ever done. All right. The whole thing here is that they are teaching people how to look at movies not as vessels of entertainment or philosophy or as stories that should be entertaining you, but what can we find that's offensive that we can complain about?
Yeah. Oh, this is not a reflection of me or my character. It's like, bro, you played a game. It's like, if I played Sano Uta, doesn't mean I'm a fan. I'm a number one like stan of Uta. I love everything about it. It's like, I experienced the story that was on offer. And I think people are afraid to jump or be seen playing games like this because they're like, it's like, bro, that is not even remotely close to the truth. And when you boil down conversations like that of discussing media like this, you are absolutely robbing any nuance in any way to discuss these things.
So he definitely did touch on a real problem, to be fair. But there's a few things I'd like to say in response. An actually rare event moment here. I'm posting on Twitter, and I actually think I phrased it pretty good enough in this post. So I'm just going to read what I'm about to post here on Twitter for the video as well. Here you go. It says, it's always funny when people talk about this problem, but avoid discussing the demographic that perpetuates it the most, performative virtue signaling leftists. There's two simple reasons why this happens so much. One, teachers oversell the premise of finding problematic things in media, pretending it's a higher form of thinking and critical.
Yes, here it is. The teachers oversell the premise of finding problematic things. You're not supposed to be finding problematic things in media. Right? You're supposed to be finding what things mean, what the deeper meaning is, what the story means overall. Teaching new people, like new English majors and literary critics or whatever to focus on finding problematic things instead of the meaning of things is far more damaging to modern media than any chastisements of woke, I think. Like way more damaging. When it is in fact a very rudimentary, easy line of thought, especially in the manner that they go about it. Students not questioning authority at all, and one of basic independent thinking skills. Yeah, you have to learn how to think independently and think critically instead of just that's offensive, and that's offensive. I'm going to go on Twitter now.
And it is in fact a very rudimentary and easy line of thought, especially in the manner that they go about it. And two, students not questioning authority at all, and a lack of basic independent thinking skills. Shortly after the video, I will make that post. You can follow me, by the way, at _hero_hey_hey_. Yeah. In the meantime, let's check out what other people have to say. Going to the top responses here, we've got Revenant writing, Anti-tubers weighing in on fear of problematic media is like getting fitness advice from fat people. And then we've got this post from Mizu that says, people are mocking his take, and kind of rightfully so. Dude is on the forefront of denouncing problematic media.
Let's see.
Even in a room full of people who like it, on a show made for people who like it, with an audience of people who like it, he will still scream at the top of his lungs about how heckin' problematic something is. And
But okay, so that's the hypocrisy there. Like, this is problematic. Although, and then say, people are just being taught to point out things that are problematic in media, and it's not how things should go. Yeah. So, okay, the backlash would, in that case, would be deserved. Like, stop focusing on finding things that are problematic or offensive. You can't do that and then complain that everyone's being taught to just view movies as potential vessels for finding something problematic or offensive.
going to the direct responses, we've got, except he's a major hypocrite for this, so it diminishes what he says dramatically, trying to play both sides of the fence because he's a clout addict and nothing more. I would show you some positive responses for duality, but like there isn't any, as you can see by scrolling here. That's it's pretty much what you got. I guess you could say this is the closest you'd get, depending on how you look at it. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think about the latest. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. I'll see you.
All right, chat. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go to stream memes then. Let's go to stream memes, chat. And we didn't reach Pillarman. We didn't get any more super chats. We reached Pillarman. So we will transition over. We got really close, though. We got really close. So, what is this? All right, chat. We're gonna transition over to stream memes with something else entirely. What could that be? What could that be? Oh, you know what? No Pillarman means you get an ad. Okay, you get an ad. That's kind of that's the repercussion. All right, for no Pillarman, you get an ad.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, just days after his 55th birthday. Then the Rhineswan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had.
Sit alone on the edge of
5 members of the prominent Rhineswan family were found dead.
After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name. The Red Crier Killer.
Memento mori. Remember you will die.
Investigators believe the
All right, hold on. Just, Alchemic 80s, thanks for $10 super chat. Pillarman. All right, chat. All right, thank you much, Alchemic. Just saying Pillarman is that's your entire message. So thank you very much. All right. Well, here's the memes. But we'll go ahead and transition over anyway to Pillarman. So here we go, chat. Lower your volume or raise your volume, if you prefer. Pillarman and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ay, 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 ay.
Oh, yes, Best Chat. Thank you much, everyone, for joining me today. Thank you much, Best Chat, for your fantastic generosity. Very much appreciated. And we are now at 203 out of 400, a little bit over halfway to unlocking. We'll say this time around, it won't be Venture Brothers. It'll be Wonder Woman 2009. We'll do that. We'll cover that on the weekend if we reach the goal, chat. Wonder Woman 2009. Because I will say, I have not seen it. Because I mean, I cannot really describe to you how little I care about Wonder Woman. I just don't at all. She's only included in the main trio because they needed a girl, I think. Who cares about Wonder Woman? Okay, we got Batman has like with the long Halloween killing joke. What's it called? We got the killing joke. We got whoever happened to the Kid Crusader. We've got Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One. I mean, we got Superman, we got the man who has everything, whoever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. We got All Star Superman. We got Superman versus the Elite, like that story. We got him versus Doomsday. We got the Legendary, which I used to have. I used to have the original. I don't know where it is now. We have Superman versus Darkseid. All that stuff. All that stuff. What the hell does Wonder Woman have? Nothing, because nobody cares. The only time that people really care about Wonder Woman is during the time where she could be bondaged by men. That was her weakness. She had a weakness back then where she could be tied up by men and made powerless. And that's when she was the most interesting. So, yeah, I never actually seen Wonder Woman. I didn't really care to see Wonder Woman. I don't really care at all. So, I never seen it. It'd be pretty interesting. All right. Here we go. Is it different tables? Are these D&D tables? It's a mystery sword. Everyone is unique. What will be inside? I got a dino sword. I got a screaming sword. Look, guys. I got a plutonium sword. Let's see. Turn on the orb. They hit the fucking fire. The spires. They hit the spires. They hit the fucking Pentagon. Let's see. We must resist the dark temptations of this world. Why is that teenage gypsy girl walking around barefoot? What? What's kind of funny is that Tony Jay is the guy that voiced Frollo, and he also voices the narrator in Treasure Planet. So it's like we watch Treasure Planet, and you basically are technically hearing Frollo's voice, kind of like telling you the story of Nathaniel Flint. It's pretty cool. Also, he also voices Megabyte from Reboot, which is interesting. Fun fact: koi fish always travel in groups of 4. If attacked, koi A, B, and C will scatter, leaving behind the decoy. Oh, okay. That's where it comes from. Blessed heavenly silk panty of younger sister. What? No. What is this? What is this degeneracy? What? Younger. What? It is made of silk. It is categorized as an instrument. Is fireproof, acid proof. This is Mormon underwear. What is this? Like some sort of like degenerate 4chan post. During revolutionary times, never trust a man over 40. They simply will not be able to grasp the situation. If Napoleon could meet boomers, he would explode. He probably would. Man, boomers just took a prosperous country and just face fucked it to the ground. Let's see. Swim away immediately. That worm is almost certainly a trap. I'm a fish and I see a worm on the line. The self-insert problem is real. David Musselman says, Tony J is in so many things from my childhood. Oh, hi, everybody. I'm late, but type of stream names. Hello to David Musselman. He is. He's a lot of things. There's like this weird story, this weird child's cartoon about spiders and everything, and he plays like this weird white spider villain that became a meme after a while, I think. And see, what else can I say except you're welcome? This is a really good song. I like the song. I like it a lot. That's why Moana 1 is better than Moana 2, because at least we have Maui singing the You're Welcome song, and the Shiny song was okay. It wasn't good or great, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of like okay. I will voluntarily listen to it every once in a while. I kind of like what the song is, like what it's kind of explaining. Thanks for the $100 dono. Can you believe these simps drop hundreds of dollars for some female attention? He's on his expensive date. Let's see, if the price of one Lego Death Star, you can at least it's there for you though, right? This is way better. Being on the date is way better than kind of simping to like a OnlyFans thought or something. Let's see. For the price of one Lego Death Star, you can buy a two Freddy Fazbears. Let this sink in. Oh yeah, Lego's expensive. Also, Lego is way cooler, I think. Like, what are you gonna do with the Freddy Fazbear animatronic? Like, he's not gonna haunt you or anything. It's like when you first start dating her versus a year later. Let's see. Kanji for light, kanji for darkness, kanji for star. That's pretty cool. I hope Norway wins. Me too. Every team she supported has been eliminated. Let's see. This really creepy. It's like Moana with Maui's face. And then Nina San, 37 years old. Birthday on Sunday. Macho Girl. Stuff. So you first look at Matangi. Oh yeah, this is the villain who kind of like sings "Get Lost" sometimes to Moana 2. And she's not even the villain of Moana 2. She just helps her out. She starts off as the villain of Moana 2, but then she's like, she actually meets Moana and is like, oh, hey, you should help me out. Here's Maui. And the real bad guy was some man. Please be evil and pretty and not some innocent villain who actually is a good person. I got some bad news for you. She doesn't do, technically speaking, she doesn't do anything evil in the movie at all. She's misunderstood, trapped, and wants to be free. Introverts when they meet someone, it's a human. It's pretty accurate. Medievalist Matt date. I just don't think the movie is that funny. I mean, why are knights pretending to be on horseback? And what's with the coconuts? It makes no sense. Me shakes head at waiter engagement ring. Hey, no, call it off. Call it. It's like a Futurama skit. No. I changed my mind. Let's see. I am a coffee bean and I can hear the grinder starting. I'm scared. Don't panic. This is actually the start of your ultimate destiny. Instead of being a boring whole coffee bean, the grinder transforms you into tiny particles so that all your wonderful hidden flavors can finally be set free. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's see. We have Norwegian Miku on our side. We have Essie. And then this is pretty good. Although I don't think Freerun did that in the anime. I don't remember that happening. Although the sign in the rain is definitely had happened at one point. I'm not sure this is in the anime actually, but this has to have happened at least once. Let's see. Money. Disney making remakes, classic Disney movies. Am I really going to defile this grave for money? Of course I am. Give me money. About Tree Fitty. Susie, it's me, the devil, from the Bible. I'm here to convince you to sin. Come with me, steal candy from children in small business. Not iSmart, though. That'd be too wrong, too evil. Please leave. Oh my god, big dragon fluffy. Where are they? Where are these big dragon mommy milkers you speak of? I don't see them. I slice into her shins, and as she falls bleeding, I chop her tail off. I get the dagger, right? Let's see. Is this parry this, you filthy casual? Oh, it's Gwyn. That's a good fight, though. Like this fight, the end of Dark Souls. That's a really good fight. I like that fight. It's not really all that difficult, but it is very moving. It's very appropriate for the end of that game. Let's see. But people are cruel. If they saw my true form, they wouldn't speak to me. And see, you're homeless. Just buy a house. So you can't win. So win. You can't win. So win. If you're homeless, just buy a house. Yeah. This would be pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure that Kirby could clean up the world of Elden Ring Lickety Split. It's a ew, they remade us in Skyrim. Oh my gosh, is game event even relevant? Oh, you see, finally awake. Yes. Soccer memes. Forgive us, Lord, for our sins. This is Cammy. Throughout the year, she has been the center of much controversy because feminists claim she represents the unrealistic, unhealthy, and unfair beauty standard, leading to a crisis for young girls, Zerls, and their self-esteem. Also, this is Zangief. Yeah, men never. It's never men complaining. It's always women complaining about some new female character. Until the new one comes around. It's kind of like Republican presidents. They always call the current Republican president a Nazi until the new Republican president comes around, and then the old Republican president becomes like the ideal for Republicans to be, and the new one is the Nazi. And there is something by Vizzy Pop, and let's see, and then what our parents think Kirby is, what we know Kirby actually is. Yes, he's a fighter of eldritch entities. I want more ridiculous Grimderp with even more stupid decisions. Made by people who are blinded by dogma, hatred, fear, cruelty, and general small-mindedness. I am not kidding. What is this? Oh, this is Kirby fighting Eldritch Horrors. Dark Souls lore, Kirby lore. Oh, okay. I only wish to be invited to the party. Oh, is it? I guess from Twisted. I think it's from Twisted. I think there's a part in Twisted where he kind of meets the other villains. I only wished to teach the boy responsibility so he wouldn't end up like me. I only wish to improve relations between races. I only wish to save her. I only wish to give people advice. I just, whenever I hear Ursula in like a cartoon illustrated form and not voiced, I just think of Vito's voice. Let's see. I only wish to have coat made out of puppies. Why would you do that? I think that's actually how that goes into play. Everyone is a sympathetic, character, misunderstood. And then Corella's like, I just want to make a coat out of puppies. And I was like, whoa, slow down there. Like even Twisted is like, nah, this Cruella is not redeemable. She's just evil. Pretty cool artwork there. I don't even feel pain anymore. Naruto coming back from a sage training. Konoha destroyed everything. And your children will know of your sins. Hooray! Here it is. The Chainsaw Man thing with but it's like Breaking Bad. Here's a new character for Blade 2. The people that which did cause controversy. But I like how Asmongold's like, yeah, she looks a little young, but I'm still gonna play it. I was like, fuck you and your concern trolling. Yeah, Pete's Dragon. This is good. I watched the movie a lot when I was a kid. Pete's Dragon, because I mean, who doesn't want the fantasy of having a pet dragon? It's awesome. Why do people say chicken as a term for a coward? Have you ever met a chicken? Because those things will fuck you up, man. I just feared other countries have already developed super soldiers far beyond my imagination. It's just a chicken. Normalize this, normalize that. How about we feel shame for once? Exactly. Is this Tenchi Muyo? Is this Tenchi, the girl police officers from Tenchi arresting Gene Starwind? It's kind of funny. Do not flirt with the officers. Sexy space prisons. Sexy space prison. Attack on Chicken. Here it is. Here's the meme. It's Lara Croft. This is a misogynistic design for incels. And then it was Bayonetta. And it's like, oh, you should be an empowered feminist icon like Lara Croft. And then it was B4 or whatever. That was a misogynistic design for incels. She should be more like Bayonetta. And then it was Stellar Blade. And she was the misogynistic thing for incels. And you should be like more like 2B. That's it, 2B. And then 2B was a... whoever the hell this is. And see. What is this? I'm the games programmer. I can code with numerous languages fluently and build my own full-featured graphics engine for fun. I am the games artist. I can design model. I can design a model text. Yeah, all these guys are doing a lot of work. Like there's the game designer, there's the artist, and then there's the composer, right? And then there's the woke rainbow brain writer who just like I'm the writer, I'm gay. You came in right. And this is what I hate about the modern day media a lot is that these three guys put in their efforts all over the place. The guy who programs the game, the guy who creates the art for the game, the guy who composes for the game, and all three of those guys do a fantastic job usually. And then they hire like some rainbow mafia writer, and it's like this story is garbage. And so because the story is garbage, all the work of all these three guys means nothing. It sucks. Like the story sucks. And not just sucks, it's woke, and no one wants it. Everyone is angry at it and hates you. None shucks. 7 Deadly Sins. I like the first season of that. I haven't seen the second season just yet. The weak should fare the strong. Uncut. Best of origins of Moana 2. These are pretty cool videos. Anyway, chat, let's go ahead and end the stream for today. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you much, Best Chat, for always being the best chat. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. So again, of course, next time.
In flames of death's eternal reign, we ride towards the fight. When the darkness has fallen down,